All right. Good evening. Welcome to the Ayer Conservation Commission meeting. It's November 10th, 2016. We're here in beautiful Ayer Town Hall. Let's begin our meeting with a pledge of allegiance to our nation's flag. Despite everything. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you're looking for common sense, it doesn't seem to be anywhere. Any changes to the agenda?
Yes. What are we using as your address?
I live on 64.
Oh, no, sorry, the project.
Oh, it's 84 off Groton School Road.
We have a little chat about that. And then additionally, the 730 ought to be adjusted to include the emergency certification form,
Okay.
just to match the Board of Health.
All right, so 7:15 seems to make sense. 7:25 with a continuation, and,
Probably will continue, but we'll get there.
okay. Are they here to talk, or is it,
Buildings. I did chat about the stone wall, the foundation.
okay?
So we'll get there.
All right,
Let's get
so
to it.
it's not happening, so we might as well just move it to the end. Are they coming in to talk to us?
I don't know.
Okay, so we'll leave it there. I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. What's this?
Oh, I'm Mark Anderson.
Mark Anderson, okay. And where does it seem to make sense to put Mr. Anderson?
Let's put him in front of 725, and I'll give Rob some time to show up.
Okay. And what was the address for Mr. Anderson?
84.
84 off Groton School Road.
Is that a road? It's not Groton School Road, it's...
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
private road off of Groton.
Okay.
They weren't very creative when they thought of the name of the road.
It's directly across the street from Rosewood.
Okay.
Interesting. Oh, okay. This, who used to live back there? The lady who was on the Board of Selectmen, wasn't she?
That wall.
No, Pat Walsh, planning
Mike
board.
Walsh still lives down the end of the road.
Okay. Okay, so we're adding that in, then 725, Jonathan Drive, 730, demolition and Board of Health emergency cert.
No, this is a WPA emergency, sir. The Board of Health granted it.
Gotcha. Okay. COCs. Okay. Any other changes? Great. Would accept a motion to approve the agenda as so marked.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Thank you very much. All right, let's start up with our 7:15. Please give your name and tell us about your project.
Robert Hood, my Eagle Scout project, building bridge. So I have shifted where I was going to build it because it would be easier, it would make it smaller and therefore easier to build and a lot cheaper. So to the left of the tree is where the rock bridge would be. To the right is where I'm gonna put it now. And so that's where it would span.
So please help me, Robert. So if I were to come from the transfer station side,
Mhm.
right? And
Yep.
that's the rock bridge?
No, the rock bridge is.
Am I the other
At
way?
the lower corner,
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I gotcha.
Yeah.
So I'm past the rock bridge and I'm headed up toward
the
the
beaver
higher
dam.
pond.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So initially, you'd been thinking the other side,
Right.
and further away, but now it's that side of the tree.
That's why
Okay.
I was confused.
Okay.
Okay.
So if I were to put it there, would it be okay if I moved the trail? I'd have to move the trail slightly.
I don't think we're anywhere close to a property line, are we?
I guess I didn't quite follow. So if I'm coming from the transfer station
Mm-hmm.
and I'm approaching the existing stone crossing,
Yep.
this is still to the right of it?
Left.
It'd be to the
Now
left
on the left.
now.
Can you go back
Okay.
one picture, please?
Yeah.
So that's the, this is the stone bridge here in the foreground.
Okay.
So that's just another
Okay,
pile
so
of stones.
from this vantage point, where is your bridge going? In front of the tree or behind the tree?
Behind.
See where the stakes are.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
And that's the way to Rock Meadow
Okay,
Pond.
okay. How much of a shift in the trails then?
I might have a better picture. So the trail pretty much ends where that root is, going horizontally.
This one.
Yeah, so I would have to shift it over to that last stake.
10 feet.
Yeah.
Do you know off the top of your head if we're anywhere close to a property line there? I don't think we are, but
I don't think so either, but it'd be worth checking to make sure.
just to be certain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I would have to do the same on the other side and go around the back of that tree on the left.
Ah,
Is there a current trail that goes behind that tree up toward the beaver dam?
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
Yes.
Well-
There's-
yep, up
Further that
Further.
way.
this way.
Yeah, does
Yeah.
it go up that way?
No, I think
Yeah.
it's on the other side of the sign.
Yeah.
On the trail map.
It's, yeah, it is, there is,
Oh, it's
off the
on.
screen is that sign, yeah.
Okay.
So it's not on, the trail isn't on their
It's in
bill, it's further to the left, off screen.
Alright.
So, Robert, we have the map of the conservation area, and the actual property line
Mhm.
is considerably away from where you're talking about crossing, so we shouldn't have any problem.
I mean, one benefit to moving the trail is, well, I mean, there's a lot of roots, right, that are kind of
Yeah, there's
hazardous, because I've tripped over, I have actually fallen once over one of those roots while I was running across the bridge, the stone bridge.
Did you fall, or did you catch
I
yourself?
I fell.
So,
Yeah.
I don't remember that stone bridge being that built up. Is that
Somebody,
someone? Soldier out in a heartbeat, an actual heartbeat.
no, I was
big
gonna say, I was just
rocks.
gonna say, somebody would know that
it's
more
the
about that.
one towards the tree. Those are just rock. That's not the bridge, the closest one.
Oh, right, that's not, it's up further, Bill.
Yeah.
So the,
The rock bridge is a second thing of rocks.
This one, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, I figured as much, because that looks like an actual laid pile of rock so that people could walk across it.
It does look different. Yeah, it looks a little different.
It's the lighting.
Well, sounds great. So, what's your next step?
Finish designing it and pricing out everything, and then in the spring putting it together. But, well, I would have to dig the foundations first, which leads me to my next question is, what do I do with the dirt that I dig up?
You must have a place that you need it for some of your trail repair.
So what kind of foundations are you? planning?
Just sonotubes, so, 4 feet on that side and then something a little shorter on the left side.
Do you have a sketch that shows what that looks like? Just pass it to Jess, thank you.
I have those, and then in here I have some other ones.
So that's
So,
questions for Robert.
please do. So 4 sonotubes,
And then that here.
hold it up.
Robert, how much shorter in this new location will the bridge be?
The bridge will be 12 feet in this new location as opposed to like 20, I
Right.
think, where it was, because I would have to get over all those big rocks.
Right.
So, you measured 12 feet on your, in your notebook.
Mhm.
Excellent use, by the way, of a notebook. You measured 12 feet in your notebook. Is that the distance between the stakes?
Yes.
Okay. So, I think the only thing that we might want to talk about is that these stakes on this side are far enough from the water that you don't have to worry about them, the sonotubes getting inundated in water. On this side, though, it looks like you're almost right in the actual stream. It's pretty darn close.
Mm-hmm.
There may be a way to shift a little bit to the left across the photo so that your two piers on this side are farther away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then you come down a bit, don't you? Looks like on the right.
On the right
Well, on
wall.
the right, it's a straight drop off.
Is
Yeah,
it?
So
Yeah.
looks like maybe extending it a couple feet instead.
Do you have
Yeah.
another photo?
Yeah.
Oh, and you're in the roots.
Yeah, too.
Well, I can tell you that digging in the roots like that is not very simple.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you what, I don't think we're gonna have anything. Do you have time this Saturday morning to maybe go take a look at where the stakes are and talk about where you've got it laid out?
I think so. Yeah.
All right, does anybody have time to go on Saturday morning?
Yeah.
Pop down?
Mhm.
So, I think you've got a tough spot there.
Mm-hmm.
Those tree roots are really gonna be
Yeah.
difficult. And we definitely don't wanna see you, find yourself in a spot where you can't build it. It would be better for us to go and talk about what's doable. It may mean it has to be a little longer,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe we can, find a compromise. I appreciate that you tried to keep it as close as you did, but I'm worried that you're gonna run into such a mess over there, it just may be too hard.
Okay.
And plus, the other thing is the only way if you start to damage the roots of that tree,
Mm-hmm.
then the tree could die, and
Yeah.
that would be sad too.
Yeah.
So, it might be great to go there on Saturday morning, say 9 o'clock.
Okay.
We'll meet up at the top, at the trailhead,
Okay.
and we'll walk down here and we'll see what we can do.
Mr. Chair. So I like the idea of the sidewalk. The other thing that we want to try to make sure that we do is wherever the bridge ends up being placed and however it ends up being situated, we want to make sure that it will accommodate the highest amount of flow that we might expect, which would be in the springtime.
Yep.
And this year was not a good year to gauge
Mhm.
normal flow of streams and such because of
Yeah.
the drought. So, yeah.
Well, I think one of the things that we can look at when we're there is you can see how the banks are worn away.
Mhm.
So there's a difference between scouring out and wearing away.
Mhm.
So we can go there and take a look and we can try and figure out about how far up on the sides the water historically goes
Okay.
and use that to gauge where it might end up.
So which is the difference? So scoured out suggests
Scoured out suggests that water
rapid.
passing through there, whereas you can see like underneath there where stuff has just fallen out, that's because, the dirt was gone on the bottom and it just
Right.
collapsed
So
under the
scoured
roots.
out would be the higher. Yeah.
Right. And usually you can see that, I know you can see it on the Nashua River really clearly. You can see where the high water level is on the Nashua on the banks.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can make the same kind of decision there. Because I don't think there's too much trouble on the top side, but on the bottom side,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mhm.
so. Well, that's great. Have you gotten into any of the design as far as the size of the beams or any of that?
I have. I looked at the other bridge there, and it was simply just 4 posts with joists and then decking. So I was gonna go something like that with, right now it would be 12-foot joists, but that's gonna change probably.
I think it has to.
But
Have you talked to Calvin Goldsmith? Or
I have.
he's given input?
Great. Well, the first and foremost thing to do is to pick a spot, which you've done, and then the second thing to do is to figure out what the total length will be, so I think it would be a good meeting on Saturday to go do that. Is there anything else we can do for you?
I don't think so.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll see you on Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, and we'll walk on down and see how she looks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robert.
Thank you.
All right. Do you need your flashcard back?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to exit out of
That's a good question.
Close.
that. Oh.
That works.
Yeah, but is that gonna let him
Oh,
down here?
possible, yeah.
And then,
This one? This one?
the one that looks like a gear?
No, it's a little
Yeah.
different.
I think that's settings. Yeah. Yeah.
Try to, is there an arrow that you can go over farther? They have more options.
That's why I have to be quite using technology on that.
Oh, see, it's very, you
I
can
never
read it.
Trans textures, reset.
Well, I know an easy way, and that's to take it out. And
Yeah.
since we're not worried about saving anything to it, I don't think you'll lose anything.
They had already did it.
Thank you. Thank you. Is this you?
No.
Thank you very much, Robert. Have a great night. See you on Saturday morning. Let's put that in my phone before I forget. So, Pine Meadow Pond. Okay. Next meeting, we added Mr. Anderson, 84 off Groton School Road.
Yes. I spoke to Charlie Schultz about, I'm gonna plan on building a house on this lot,
Okay.
and he recommended that I speak to Brian about, because the driveway is in the buffer zone of a wetland,
Okay.
and he told me to bring it to you guys, and I filled out the form.
So we've got at least an RDA, but it's just the way the conversation went. It sounded much like the last situation where you had the driveway going in, and you're like, "Oh, go ahead. It's the end of the season." I went out today, and the site's still wooded. There's no work that's been done,
Okay.
and so if you want to pass around that
Oh,
plan and show them, just how much buffer area you've got. We can find out whether or not you'd like to proceed more with an RDA or more with
This
an
is
LI.
Let's bring it over
Oh,
to.
okay.
Is it marked? Is it labeled on here?
Yes.
Our great Kuba.
So this is the driveway.
Yeah, this is proposed driveway, this is the buffer zone,
Okay.
and the house is outside the buffer zone, Ross moved it back, so it wasn't in the buffer zone, but the driveway obviously is in the buffer zone. And
Okay.
I was wondering what I need to do to protect obviously I don't know if it's wetland there, or,
Like I said, I did a drive-by today, and the wetland is on that side, and the road is in the way, and then there's that lot, and there's no construction that's taking place. It's all wooded as is.
Okay. Is it a paved road in the middle, or is that the dirt road?
That's the dirt road.
Okay. And what's the pitch?
On the road, on the uphill property, or on the wetland?
Well, if I'm standing where the house is gonna be and I was gonna start to do the driveway, am I going down to the wetland?
Yeah,
It is going down to the wetland?
yeah, probably
Slight grade, yeah.
Okay.
like in the 2 to 5 ballpark, just eyeballing it.
Okay. So, one of the, so how do we know what the wetland is? Is that based on a flagging?
There was no flagging up that I saw. It, you know, doing the flagging work would probably help the situation here.
Well, I guess the question is if we don't have any flagging, how do we know the house is out of the buffer?
I think Ross probably has an old determination.
Well, it's more than 3 years old, and it's too old.
Yeah. So, you know, the question originally.
Who's the engineer? They know better than this.
Well, the question originally, you know, that I heard was whether or not you wanted to sort of let them pave prior to the end of the season or do an RDA. And after doing the site walk, you know, doing the drive-by, you know, it's a question of RDA versus NOI.
So I guess the first question is, what's the schedule for building the house?
As soon as possible, I was trying to get the foundation in before the freeze.
Sure. So I guess what I would want to know, where we're talking about the house being outside of the buffer zone by what looks like 6 inches, you know, or a foot.
With the whole driveway requiring the cutting down of all the trees, all that coming out, you know, and then, you know, putting it in. This isn't just a repaving job, this is the whole installation
Okay,
job.
so it's not cleared already.
No.
So there's a significant amount of work all inside the buffer, and we're judging the buffer based on a non-flagged resource? Okay.
So, NOI, RDA?
I guess what, so either way, we're not in a position, I'm sorry, it was Mark, right?
Yes.
Either way, Mark, we're not in a position to tell you what the right thing to do is because we don't have the information we need.
Okay.
The folks at Ross would have had to flag the wetland to determine where it is in order to say where the buffer is. So in other words, if you don't know where the wetland is, you don't know where 100 feet away from it is. And so not having flagged that, or at least not to our knowledge, it doesn't put us in a position to make a good decision. For instance, depending upon where the wetland is flagged, you may not be in the buffer at all, or the house might be in the buffer. And that changes the way that the law is set up as to where our jurisdiction falls and what the requirements are.
Okay.
So the best thing to do is to go back to David E. Ross and have them flag the wetland so that we can have a legitimate idea of where the buffer is.
Okay.
Without that information, we literally don't know what we're talking about as far as what your requirements are.
Okay.
So my guess would be December 8th, huh, is our next meeting?
Thanksgiving week would be where we would fall otherwise.
Right. I think what would be really crucial is if Ross can get it flagged and Brian can take a look at it, we could probably, what I can tell you is right now is that if all that area where the clearing is has to happen in the area of the inside the buffer and you're going to remove the stumps, etc., I would say we're talking about an NOI just based upon the amount of disturbance.
What's the NOI?
A notice of intent. So what that means is that the folks at Ross, and a little disappointed, the folks at Ross would know that we'd be talking about a great amount of disturbance in the buffer zone. And that requires a filing to figure out how we're going to deal with what to do with all that disturbance. So we need to know where the wetland is. We need to know what the extent of the buffer zone is in relation to your project. And that's the only way that we can tell you what is applicable.
Okay.
The folks at Ross, after they flag it, should also be able to tell you what's applicable.
So yeah,
Where would that leave me?
it basically, so the RDA, you know, that we were talking about, this is the next step up.
Okay.
So,
Well, to be fair, we don't know where the, I'm
right, there's some assumptions being made, some educated guessing being done, and essentially, to the commission's eyes, the wetland line is an educated guess. and we wanna know where it is before we can make a decision.
Another way to put it is, the law requires that your engineer determine that wetland boundary before he draws a plan like that and says, don't worry, I'm outside the buffer. It has to be based on something. So I'd like to know what it's based on, and if there's no flags in evidence today, then there's no flags for us to look at, and we don't know what it's based on. So we need that information to know exactly what we're talking about. So the good news is that until you know that, we don't know if it's a problem or not. But the bad news is that our next meeting is December 8th. And I would absolutely take that back to the folks at Ross, and I would ask them why they didn't tell you that this was a likely outcome. 100% clearing inside a buffer would always trigger an NOI, period. That's not a question. So I don't know why they didn't give you that advice.
I don't either.
It'll be fun to find out.
So if you wanna give me a buzz on Monday, you know, I can walk you through the paperwork and the processes and all the things involved.
I'm gonna call Ross. Oh. This definitely throws a monkey wrench into the,
Well, if you had all that clearing to do anyway, you were a bit of time away from pouring, so.
yeah, I had everything lined up to happen next week.
I would have that discussion with your engineer.
Oh, definitely will.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I can't stop doing it now.
You wanna keep that?
Yeah, I'll move on to it.
The Matrix.
Thanks.
Now it's stuck in my head.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know these guys were coming. Yeah. I did. I don't suppose you want to amend the agenda again.
Amend the amended agenda.
I got here before we started, so he asked me to come.
This is 8 Hemlock.
Hemlock?
With the replicated wetland
Ah,
question. They
with the
came in to
shed.
have came in to have a conversation.
Okay. So why don't we do our easy 7:30? Why don't we move our 7:25, right?
Yeah.
Is there anyone here for a Jonathan Drive?
Nope.
Okay. So we're gonna move our 7:25 to 8 o'clock, or after the 7:45 COCs.
Right.
Okay. We're going to take on our 7:30 right now for the Beaver Dam, etc.
Okay.
And then as soon as we're done, we'll do 8 Hemlock before the COCs at 7:45.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Thanks for.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. I didn't want to interrupt.
I would accept a motion to amend the agenda as now so marked.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Aye. Thank you. Okay, so why don't we now open our 7:30 discussion with the Beaver Dam on Rosewood Ave. Do we have photos? Is that why this is up?
No, because we have these for photos, and I haven't learned how to connect this to that yet. So I can
Okay.
play with it, but there's pictures
Yeah.
on here.
Ah, all right. Can you email them and then open email up here? How many pictures?
Oh, lots. I was generous with my photography.
Sure. How many pictures matter?
4.
Okay, well, let's
These
do
the
that.
ones you sent us the other day?
Probably.
Okay.
Do you want to try and have you
Yeah, I
ever
can
opened
play
your
with
email
this
up
while you
here?
guys-
Well, if you've sent them by email, then they're in your email, and you could just open your email.
I'll play. You guys can chat and I'll play, and I'll see if I can succeed.
All right. Well, I don't know how much we're going to know without the photos, so why don't we start with, good evening. Okay. So, how's progress? I've been seeing your emails. I didn't have a chance. I was trying very hard to get down there today, and I didn't make it. And now, unfortunately, I'm going to Vermont tomorrow, so.
Yeah, Mark headed out on vacation as well.
I saw.
So, well, progress is the culvert is in, the rough grading for the driveway is in over the culvert.
Great.
To have initial access. The Beaver Dam is breached and is down to the stream elevation.
Wonderful.
And so now we just have to clear away the debris, which, couldn't occur until Monday, given DPW's access to trucks and so on.
Oh,
So, now also on Monday, there'll be, Mike Callahan of Beaver Solutions. He'll come to the site, he'll be there at the same time as the contractor with the excavator, and the DPW trucks are there to haul away the debris, so that we can make sure that that gets shaped properly for what presumably will be an effective beaver fence in front of the culvert.
sure.
So,
And that's Callahan's part? He's not doing
Callahan
it,
is there, he's there to advise on, kind of preparing the site for that beaver fence.
okay.
The developer is hiring Callahan to do that.
We had talked with him about a deceiver in years past in that dam. And so obviously now it's not needed, but that brings
Well,
up the next question, which
It's not
is.
possible because of the elevation's too low, because it's a stream now.
No, right. So the only question I had, and unfortunately because I didn't make it down, folks had talked about a potential of a second dam up ahead that might be retaining water. Is that dam holding water?
I haven't been around the bend to see where that is. It doesn't, I know that Cal went out there on the rail trail and took a photo and, waters were down. So apparently not.
Okay,
Now, the beavers have been back every night to reseal the breach in the dam. And,
Or attempt to, anyway.
sure.
well, it seems as if they've been pretty successful every night. So the contractor has taken out the previous night's work. The breach has gotten wider as the debris from the dam is kind of set aside, so ready for hauling away. So we'll see what they do tonight. I don't know. They've been very industrious.
What time does the sun come up? Is it 7?
Earlier now.
Yeah, if we had a night
6:33.
vision cam, that would be amazing.
6:33. Okay. All right, are you guys on site at 6:30?
No.
Is there a gate?
I'm not.
Could I walk down?
Yes.
You can.
Okay. All right. I can probably sneak down there tomorrow morning. I'd just be interested to see myself, see what kind of, work they've done. Not damage, work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So anyway, I'm having trouble figuring out, I don't think we're on the same Wi-Fi network, because it doesn't see me, and the Wi-Fi provided by the Mondo pad is locked. It's a password thing. And so, I haven't been introduced to it, because I've got this situation here. I just need to, tap on AirPlay, select Mondo 2, and it's not providing me
Do you want
Mondo
to
2.
try it? Do you want to try it through
Chrome?
Chrome?
Connect to Chromebook PC. I don't have a Chromebook PC.
Well, I don't know that it.
Yeah, that's the hardware, not the software. And again, Wi-Fi network is the Mondo pad. Wireless display. I know it's very official.
Never heard of
Well, anyway, so the story as it unfolds basically is that Monday I was out on site. I think it was Monday. It didn't seem that long ago. Out on site talking to the contractors before they started working on the dam, and mentioned to the head of the crew that there was a dam downstream, and I knew where it was, and I pointed out to him, just in conversation, and that became them saying, "Oh, we know why the water's staying up so high," and they went and took down a chunk of it. I don't know, let's call it half a foot. More or less, they took the sticks off the top of the dam, and it was just the mud core. So, that's where that stood, just sort of an unpermitted dam-related activity. So then, the permitted dam activity went forward, lots of water came down, lots of pictures in here of the site. And then the question became, that I presented to Kyle and Cal was, well, we've got an unpermitted situation here, we've taken down some of the dam. There's potential now for erosion of that dam and blowing that out, potentially, through benign neglect, if you will. And then that happened. And so the downstream dam blew out.
Oh, it did blow out now.
Yeah.
I don't know that it blew out.
It breached.
There's no picture.
There is a picture.
Well, I didn't see one that you were just waving it, I didn't see a picture. Then you know.
Yeah.
There's an awful lot of ponded water there still. I don't know how, I mean, there were some sticks, I guess the contractor misunderstood what was taken off.
That's the breach.
Okay, so is this while it was flowing and dewatering?
No, this is yesterday.
Okay,
So this is after
So-
the fact.
have you, right, but.
See?
There's a little 30-second video clip. You know,
Right.
in front and behind that are perspectives on the dam.
I went out there today and I looked at it, and the ponding is still the same. I don't know if the beavers are still active. I didn't see anything that I would look at as new on the lower dam, but, you know, you basically have a ponded waterway from the downstream end of the culvert all the way down to that lower dam, which wasn't flowing when I was there this afternoon. So, you know, there was a lot of water flow to drain down the ponded waters, so
Eventually, that lower dam will get built up again,
I
correct?
would think the beavers'
Right.
activity is
It's
not
a
gonna
toss-up.
stop.
It's a matter of time, but
The
they
upper
do, I mean,
dam- The upper dam's probably gonna build up again
right, if
too,
they're there, they're gonna
further
build it.
upstream.
So the consequence of building that dam up again is going to do what to the upper,
To the culvert area?
yeah, to the culvert area?
Well,
I don't think we can build it high
that's
enough.
a.
I'm just curious,
But
I'm just
that's a
asking.
longer term question, it's a good
Down the
question.
road.
You know, those waters from that lower dam could just pond up, and you just end up basically with a standing pond running through the culvert. How far upstream that would go depends on how high that lower dam gets. There's enough, it seems like there's enough kind of overland channel relief in the kind of low floodplain area between the culvert and that lower dam that it would just overflow through there. It would take a lot of beaver work, I think, to completely block that all up, to keep it going back upstream. So,
Well, so let's go back a step, just so we're on the same page. So, have you ever kayaked from Sandy Pond up toward Long Pond?
no.
So, some of those beaver dams are 60 feet wide. They're shallow, but they're easily 60 feet wide. They go all the way across, and then they neck down. I think the biggest one's about 60 or so, but they may only represent a 6-inch to a foot step, and you can kind of scooch your kayak over it when the water's high enough, and you can get up into the next section and on and on. So it's not impossible for them to do that, and I'm not suggesting that has anything to do with this part of the project. I think over time, I'm sure it'll happen. I think what Brian's concern, what he called me about is that we didn't have a permit to do anything with that lower dam, and so we weren't supposed to touch that lower dam, and so the main question was, how do we get a permit as post-work to make sure that the project is covered so that we can legitimately say all the work that happened on the dams was permitted? Did you guys go to the Board of Health?
Board of Health was gone to for the main beaver dam, not for this lower beaver
The
dam.
permit is something you have right in front of you if you want the specific language.
It is exciting.
I only gave Bill the permit because it's short and easily read.
That's hurtful. I'll read it. Hold on. Oh,
Right. Okay, good.
I was looking for the wrong thing. So, the Neshoba Associated Boards of Health, emergency permit issued under Chapter 139 of the Acts of 2000, acting as agents to the Air Board of Health after consultation with its board members. The Neshoba Associated Boards of Health, acting under the powers granted by Chapter 139 of the Acts of 2000, having determined that a health emergency exists due to the impoundment of water, issues this permit to the Town of Ayer DPW for the purpose of breaching removal of a beaver dam at the following location: end of Rosewood Ave, May 3rd, map 3 and parcel 50. All activity carried on by the applicant must comply with Chapter 131 of Mass General Law and Section 321. Okay.
So that's their permit. And then in the Beaver packet that I gave you, there's guidance on saying how the Conservation Commission should handle this. And what it says is the Concom ought to fill out an emergency certification form. And basically then Concom is in agreement with Board of Health. Board of Health leads the charge, Concom,
So we fill out an emergency certification for the one at the end of Rosewood?
did we? I missed that
No.
meeting.
No, so that's what you're asking us to do now?
Well, that's option A,
Okay.
and in the paperwork, you can specify, downstream impacts, allow dynamic system, blah, 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 you can do that sort of thing.
Okay.
The other alternative is an actual enforcement order, because it's a unpermitted activity. And
Oh.
so it's sort of, it's an easy thing to make the argument that the only reason the dam blew out is because of the original unpermitted removal of the dam partially. But it's also an easy argument to make that that was a relatively tiny dam and that was a lot of water and it was gonna go anyway.
I guess the main issue is that we didn't have the permission to touch it, which unfortunately puts you in the you break it, you bought it. But at the same time, clearly it was gonna be necessary for the overall project. So I think the right thing to do is to say that we need your assurance that you're not gonna do this again. This is exactly what we talked about, exactly what we talked about. I just say it one more time, exactly what we talked about right here, that this would happen. And son of a gun, it happened. So that's disappointing. So why don't we deal with it this way by doing the emergency cert? Clearly it was gonna have to happen. And quite frankly, after looking at the video of that dam, I'm not sure that dam was gonna hold up. It doesn't look like it was a new dam or a relatively used dam. So therefore, it wasn't like an active dam was
Well,
taken
it's
out.
still active. It is still actively functioning as a dam.
What I mean is, in other words, the
Beaver-
beavers weren't working actively on that dam. So in other words, every day, because we have an emergency permit, the beavers put sticks on the dam and every day the sticks get removed.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right.
This other dam was knocked back to allow water flow, and then the dam, which was old and is not actively worked, failed. Not happy about it, but at the same time, it could have happened all on its own even if the sticks didn't get removed.
Right.
So that isn't the issue. The issue to me is that we're ending up having the discussion in the first place.
I think it's important to note, if I can, that the dam is not completely breached and failed. It still retains water.
Yeah, it's still ponding all the way back up to the culvert.
I mean, there's a few inches that have gone down, a large volume of water has gone down, and probably exacerbated literally a few sticks that we're taking out. So I'm not trying to belittle the situation.
Oh no, I saw the video. The sticks were moved to the side. It isn't even like a machine went in there and took the material off.
No.
It was
We're
minor.
not touching any more dams. Once the beaver fence is put in, we're done doing work on behalf of the DPW for the project. So any
Right.
further work on the dams will have to be done by the DPW. So we're done.
And the positive and the negative about that is that most likely the only way for the next step to happen, and I should have written this in an envelope and mailed it to Bonnie earlier so she could open it up with a flourish next year in the spring. The only thing that's going to happen is that this is going to go back together. The beavers are going to rebuild the dam. We're going to have to go in, and next spring we're going to have to do a beaver deceiver. That's what's going to happen. It was more fun if I had done it and wrote it down and you ripped open the envelope.
On the upstream, is what you mean?
Yeah, guaranteed. You watch.
They should probably actually.
They're
make
far
that
too
phone call
active
now.
right now for them to, they're not leaving.
They're not abandoning.
Right.
Well, and the thing is, also, while I was out walking around, you can make a fairly good educated guess about how high the beavers are gonna need the water because, this is their lodge, and that hole that's a foot or two above the water
Yeah.
level should be underwater.
Where's the lodge?
It's where everybody thought the dam was,
The
the
next
second
upstream.
dam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's the place I was talking about. That wasn't a dam, that was the lodge.
Yeah.
That was their lodge, or is their lodge.
So, an educated guess means the water level needs to cover that hole to make the beavers happy.
If you're a beaver. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And beavers have been known to move out of their homes if situation
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
are not right for them.
So the real question is going to be,
They need the beaver deceiver now-ish. 'cause-
well, but there's nothing to put it in.
Yeah.
Well,
You
true.
have to have the dam to put the beaver deceiver in.
Water in the
True, but I just mean if DPW waits for the spring, they're gonna lose their manhole coverage again, and we'll do this all over.
Well, there's no guaranteed.
I think the DPW knew that they were gonna have to do something with that area. at some point in the future, but we didn't know it would be there until the waters came down.
Right. The discussion is, where's it gonna go?
Yeah.
So, the only way to find out is to wait it out. So, and even if those beavers leave, there's no guarantee that different beavers don't move in.
Right.
So, anyway, okay. So, in the spirit of signing off on this as part and parcel of the work, please don't do it again. I would accept a motion to issue an emergency certification form for the emergency, under the emergency permit issued for the DPW's work at the Beaver Dam at the end, this is Brook Street, that's their address, at the end of Rosewood Ave, map 3, parcel 50.
Second for discussion.
Further discussion, sir?
Brian, what kind of requirements do you recommend that we put on it, if any?
Say again?
What kind of requirements would you recommend that we put on it, if any, conditions? I mean, do we feel like there's enough control provided by the existing order of conditions that we're just comfortable?
Yeah, so just like, you know, thinking through, et cetera, the only question about that dam that would matter in the future is how it would impact the wetland replication. Because the wetland being replicated, it's being put in on the edge of the pond created by that dam.
So I remember that there was it wasn't substantial, there was a small pond when we were standing in the replication area. Remember that? There was a small pond there.
Mhm.
And we assumed at the time, because it was completely stagnant, was not moving at all, remember? That there must have been a dam downstream. I remember, that's not me, right? It wasn't moving at all. Remember, there was no movement in the water.
Yeah.
So,
So, you're just thinking about the project going forward and what's left. You know, if that dam is what is establishing the wetlands, you know, it's controlling wetlands on the power line side toward where the solar field is going on that pond. That is the control. And so the only potential relevant thing would be to make sure that there's some like leveling of the, you know, when the ground gets excavated to put in the new wetland, that it's excavated to a low enough level to ensure that the soils and the plants are all, you know, saturated should the beaver dam fluctuate. I don't know. That
so,
kind of thinking is the only potential answer that I've got to Takashi's question.
all right, so I think to that point and to your point, maybe what makes sense is to just say that establishment of the layout of the topo for the wetland replication area should be dependent upon the final conditions. Because now, if this dam has changed the final conditions, then the topo at that time, if you, instead of going down, 6 inches, you need to go down 2 feet, that's.
Whatever's appropriate by the scientists determining what's.
Right, and that's sort of accounted for in the conditions that we wrote up.
Is it already in there? Okay.
Well, because we give the supervising scientist a lot of power of site selection and adjustment. And so, you could say it's covered.
I
But,
concur.
like I said, that's the only, just, fishing a little bit mentally, that's what I can come up with for.
I mean, beyond that, we're required to make sure everything survives,
Sure.
Right.
So you'd be
Yeah.
pretty interested anyway.
We
Right.
weren't planting until next spring anyway,
Right.
right? So
Right.
maybe you just tack this on to the,
Well, I mean, it's probably unnecessary, is what I'm trying to say, because
Yeah.
the order of conditions has more than one level of assurance that you're gonna have a wetland replication area that will be successful, because there'll be a scientist on site
Yeah.
while we're doing the work, then we have to do inspections, I don't remember the frequency offhand, but,
Mhm.
and then a report and survival rate,
so it
so.
would be contingent
This
upon
would
what's
be like the
there
third
with water.
tier of reassurance,
Yeah.
in a manner of speaking.
Belt suspenders and holding our
Any
hands
further
up.
thoughts? Okay, because we could use staples too.
And we're certainly gonna,
Much more painful.
have you come out when we're
Right.
doing that work in addition, so.
Yeah, and I've been on site every day I've been here, so.
Could you remind me of your name?
Mike Lottie, L-O-T-T-I.
Okay.
Okay. So based on that, if we're all set with what we have, we have a motion on the floor, so all in favor of signing the WPA emergency certification form, say aye. Aye. Never hear you vote, Jess, but I just assume you do.
Aye.
There you go.
This is a quick update on the project. We have a slight delay because of National Grid permitting, allowing us to get underneath the overhead lines, the transmission lines. So given the voltage and the sensitivity of the infrastructure, we cannot, I didn't even start clearing beyond what we've done just with the culvert. So supposedly, according to folks at National Grid, the agreement is complete and ready, and awaiting signature. The last time I heard that, it took 2 weeks. Time before that, it took 3 months. So I was going to be probably partially cleared on the site by now, but given that I don't have permission to cross underneath the transmission lines, we have not continued on. So we're on hold pending that final permit, and then we'll continue.
I'm unfortunately aware of your problem.
So in terms of filling this out, in work to be allowed, I'm gonna write in that, the dam that was permitted. And then in special conditions, I'll write something to the effect of, any downstream impacts on additional beaver dams, shall be covered by, this, or shall be understood to be,
That's perfect.
okay.
Shall be understood to be what?
A natural repercussion of the permitted drainage of such a large volume of water in a dynamic fluvial system.
Very flowery.
And accurate. I'm using all my adjectives.
That was definitely dynamic. Do we have anything else? Okay. I'm gonna pop by tomorrow again. That picture of the lodge is huge. Have any of you seen the manhole structures?
I found 2 of them.
Yeah, found 2.
They're
Okay.
actually marked. I've got pictures of those too.
How high above the now stream bed are they?
Or above the water line.
They are probably 3 or 4 feet above the current water where it
Sweet
is.
Bubbling Moses.
But the
How
markers,
deep was that water back there?
the markers that were above them were also 3 or 4 or 5 feet. No, not 5 feet. Here we go. So if you, actually you guys haven't seen these yet, have you?
No.
So there's number 1, and you see the marker, and directly adjacent to that marker is number 2 on the other side.
So they're probably 2 feet below the water before.
I mean, those
Those
were
might have been hard to
here.
see.
Those markers were fully underwater, and that was probably here-ish. Something, yeah. So you can see it. There's 1, and there's the second one.
So when you say one and the second one, are you standing at the dam looking over this way,
Oh no,
or are
I
you
am
over on the
way
road?
out. I went for a walk into the mud.
It's amazing that they.
Has the
not no
DPW
comments.
found all of them yet? Or?
I don't know the DPW's gone looking.
I don't know that they've gone looking
Yeah.
for them yet. I don't think so, as Mark left town on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the
Tuesday.
one
I
at the
didn't realize
construction
he was
site
leaving.
that was uncovered, and then
Until
those 2.
Thursday. He's coming
Well,
back on
those look like
Thursday.
new markers, so clearly somebody's walked back in there.
Those were underwater.
That one that looks like a green fence post?
Let's put it this way: if they went out there before me, they went out when it was still wet, and their footprints were gone. It was all vegetation and dead and dying fish,
What's the
and
DPW
I did a
cover
lot of
for?
catfish and salamander rescue. Not
Yeah.
salamander, sorry. Not guppy.
New.
I found 2 crayfish. The tadpoles.
They're tadpoles?
Lots of tadpoles, lots of catfish.
No?
Wow, kind of late for tadpoles.
Yeah.
They were
You sure they
there.
weren't baby catfish? Because we have a lot of baby catfish in the pond.
They looked like a tadpole.
They do, they look like tadpoles, but it's from their whisker things that stick out.
No, it's the tail. It's a big bulky front and then the big squishy tail. And,
Huh.
I mean, not claiming to be a fish biologist, but I only know of tadpoles that look like that. That and vaguely sea lamprey, but that's another story.
Did you take any pictures of?
Yeah.
Is that one of them right there?
No, that's one of the catfish.
Boy, isn't he cute?
There's catfish in there.
Lots of brown bullnose.
And a little tiny yellow perch.
Yeah, and there's a gar that I found as well. Don't know what kind of gar, but funny enough, no big fish.
Hmm.
So it turns out that something is eating all the good ones.
Or they left with the water.
That's
And it was the
possible.
little ones who were like, what? What? It'd go about 60 frames, the other one.
So that would be a baby catfish.
Yeah, that's not
Not
the
what you
tadpole.
saw.
That is cute. Okay. So, when do you anticipate that you'll be wrapped up with your work? You said the fences this next week with Mark, stick removal, beaver fence.
Stick removal, beaver fence, and I talked to Chris, who's the site contractor. He
Careful.
said he'll be the head walls and the guardrails and fence posts. That I think that the head walls are supposed to come in sometime next week. So probably within a couple of weeks, that entry will be done.
Interesting. So he's doing the head walls after the culvert pipe?
He's dialing them in.
It was faster if we had the culvert without the head walls and add them later. It would have been another couple of weeks for culvert delivery.
I gotcha. So material drove your decision making?
Yes.
Catfish.
Gotcha.
We would prefer them attached instead.
Right?
But we want to beat
No?
the weather, so.
Gar.
Well, it looks like you won. You won't be setting on frozen ground yet.
No,
Not yet.
exactly. We're okay for the next 10 days roughly, so.
Actually, sorry. Okay.
And as far as the connecting goes, that's up to National Grid at this point.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Right.
There's one adjustment that he suggested he wanted to
Oh,
do
no,
with the
that's-
head walls. Instead of having them be 18 inches tall across, he said he wanted to do kind of an angled rise so that he could affix the guardrail to the inside of that head wall.
Sure.
Just for strength, it makes it easier for him to, rather than trying to secure it, the guardrail to the head wall itself from the top, it's easier to mount to the side, so it will have a slightly higher profile.
I don't think that hurts us in any way, and if anything, it's better for stabilizing the material around the culverts.
Right.
Oh, that is. That is
I wouldn't have minded if it was solid all the way across, does it? Wouldn't break my heart at all. Okay, but you want it to last, right?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
And then I'll send you guys a copy of that as well.
Sounds
Okay.
Okay. 8 Hemlock.
All right.
Hello,
Good evening.
thank you very much.
And your names.
Jerry?
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, ma'am. What are you here for?
For 80 Sandy Point Road, a driveway.
Oh,
All I'm here is for you guys to say, okay.
Oh,
I.
that's the one next to Mr. Gardner's house.
Yeah, we talked to that nice man.
Right.
And
But
I was
then-
told I have to come back tonight so that you guys could,
Right,
Give me
and,
the
but I never
final
got the,
stamp.
I never got the paperwork.
what paperwork? He sent you everything. I don't know what you're talking about. He put it in my book to come and I'm here. And I've been sitting here and I feel like crap and I don't want to go home.
I tell you what, why don't you go home? I hope you feel better.
Can I go home?
I'm
Yes.
sorry, yeah, you can go home.
We spoke to the
Very interesting beaver dam and eagle stuff. Very interesting.
we spoke to the fellow who came here before and told him to go forward.
He did. It's all done. And
Great.
he came and he saw it.
Right.
But I was told that we had to still come back.
Right, the
one
actual
more time.
formal RDA to actually sort of do that,
Okay.
and I never saw that.
Okay.
So,
So you don't have the paperwork.
Right.
Did we get the paperwork during the
No.
meeting when?
So unless
No.
somewhere it slipped through some crack, I never saw the actual
Okay.
submission.
So, I one night there was a couple here, and I said, so I asked the person. I said, does your wife think this? He goes, oh, she's not my wife. So I won't ask if he's your
I
husband.
am.
No, I can't ask. So the nice man who was
but I
here.
told him
That's right of you. So the nice man who was here, who just happens to live in the same house with you and you're married to.
and he's hunting.
Good for him. So could you check with him on the paperwork, have him turn it in to Brian?
He told me he emailed it to him.
Ah,
Yeah, so see, there's potentially the crack that fell through. So tell him to harass me.
Well, let's do
And then I
this.
can
So-
double check everything and not forget them again.
So we're gonna see you on December 8th, when hopefully you feel better, and you're gonna be first. We're gonna be done in 5 minutes.
I appreciate that.
Okay, so
Thank you very much.
Well-
you're very welcome. Have a nice cup of
And
tea.
sorry to interrupt you.
Do you guys want me to just print off an RDA signature page?
That would be fine.
And then I can sort of fill it out on my own and get it to them prior to the meeting?
That would be perfect, whatever is the
Alright.
easiest way.
So I'll do that after you guys go.
All right. Sorry about that. This
No, I understand.
once a month meeting thing causes a lot more stress.
Well, we should get rid of Thanksgiving and Christmas. That would solve the November, December
I
problem.
don't even know why they're
Yeah,
there,
holidays just get in the way of getting wetlands
Yeah.
predicted.
right? Just add in an extra Mother's Day or
I
something.
know.
So,
Names.
okay, Jerry, and then Croteau, CROTEAU.
CRO.
And then
Mike
Mike
Loisel.
Loisel, Loiselle.
Okay,
And he's my neighbor right next door.
okay.
And
The uphill neighbor.
the uphill neighbor,
No.
exactly. No, not the uphill, no, the, on the other side, on 110.
neighbor, 110.
110. Yeah.
120.
Okay, I think I got it.
Yeah.
Let's start from the beginning. So,
I'm on 8 Hemlock, so right in the corner of Hemlock and Littleton. Right?
perfect, okay.
Okay.
So you're the house that we don't have an issue with,
Correct.
Sort of.
Correct.
okay?
Correct. It's the lot next door that
With
the
the shed.
developer filled in the little.
That's odd. He said
Yeah.
it was the neighbor. So,
But then I didn't realize that I would be in the buffer zone. At the end of my driveway, I brought some rocks and I want to build a stone wall.
Which ties all
And
back
then
into
Brian-
him not having the letter saying this is your responsibility, make you aware when you buy the property.
Right.
It's
But
all,
then Brian told me that I really should come here, explain to you guys what I'm doing. And some of the stone wall will be in the buffer zone, so I want to just make sure I understand exactly what I need to do and what we need to do. I haven't done anything since he told me, so.
okay. So first off, thank you for coming in.
Okay, you're welcome.
And I'm sorry you dragged Mike in, but we'll figure out why he's here next.
Well, he's gonna,
Moral support.
moral support, he's gonna help me build the stone wall and stuff, so, yeah.
All right,
Plus I can learn the process.
Right.
I see. Are you a mason?
no,
Okay. So, from, as I recall, that property on the corner had a very small wetland in the front. There was a culvert that ran under the driveway.
That's correct.
And as a result, there's a portion of wetland on the lower side and a portion of wetland on the top side.
That's correct.
but those are both the replicated wetlands that Deshang needs to monitor for 2 years.
Are you sure?
Yep,
My areas are the replicated?
they're constructed wetlands.
Oh,
They weren't.
I thought
No.
they look like they got a lot of trees and a lot of.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So this discussion
Okay.
that I was so, again, with the shell game of, so it's your property and the uphill property,
Correct.
and there's that wetland running down sort of the front of your two driveways.
Correct, that's right.
Right.
Right, this is what we're talking about, yes.
Right, and so the replication wetlands are on your property,
I think of the other guy's property.
I think the
but
other
they're
guys.
under his DEP number. They're not under, so I had this whole confusing thing with,
Billy's area that they dug out, that's the replicated
That
area
would
they're
seem to
talking
make
about?
some
Oh,
reason to
yeah, I
So-
get it.
Has it been dug out?
Oh, yeah, it was done.
I haven't been there in a while.
I
I've
don't know
been
the issue
watching
with
this.
Billy's property.
Let's start from the beginning.
Thank
So
you.
here's what I remember. This is Mr. Croto's property on the corner,
Yes,
okay? And I remember distinctly that there was a wetland
Yep.
because part of the application for his property was to put the driveway in.
Yep.
And I remember at the time saying, why doesn't the driveway come off the other street?
Right.
And there's the house behind with the driveway right here, and so they
This
wanted
is-
to
this
face
is
it.
him. This is him right
This
there.
is you?
Yeah,
That's
Mike.
Mike.
Yeah.
And this is Joe.
Jerry.
Jerry, I'm so sorry,
That's okay,
Jerry.
that's okay.
Excuse me. This is Jerry's.
Yep.
Okay. Then there was this area right here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is the area that got filled in that wasn't supposed to be filled in.
Right, that's where our little path is.
Right. This is supposed to be opened back up,
Right.
Okay.
but none of this was replicated. This was all
Correct.
original.
Yeah.
So the conversation that I was having with Deshang, so the uphill neighbor, our
Sure.
Their house is right
Billy?
there.
this,
Billy.
right?
Of course, it's a Billy.
So they have the wetland replication exists on their property primarily,
Right.
but it's under the DEP number that's still open for this property. And the way Deshang has been talking to me about the monitoring he's been doing includes both the uphill and the downhill side of what is the only driveway involved, because there's no wetland on the uphill side of this one. So it can't be this driveway, and there's no driveway with wetland on both sides. So Deshang is monitoring this one on both sides for 2 years.
Well, I appreciate that, but neither of those was replicated.
Okay. So where's the replication in here?
I don't even remember that there was any.
I thought there was one that was back over in this corner, way up.
we
hill.
Do you think
We
maybe there's a
think-
small segment
No,
down
we,
there?
we
Alright,
think this area is what they replicated.
Well,
That was never a wetland. This was never a wetland. Was the original vernal areas. This is what I think they replicated. That's what we think
That would be
anyways.
my guess.
And by look, but being
It's
there.
immature.
okay, so let's do this.
Well, first off, I need to draw a plan so I know exactly what's going on here, because this
Right.
corner keeps coming up.
Right.
It might also help resolve that issue with Billy, because Billy bought the house with the property in that existing condition.
Right.
With the shed here.
I think he put the shed, but the part of the.
Right, no, I just mean this is his,
Yeah.
Yeah, the
so
part-
that's him with the shed, and you're
Yeah.
saying that he bought the property with that as grass
Yes.
Correct.
in the
Oh,
area
yes,
that
yes.
wasn't supposed to be filled in.
Well,
No, I'm
none
just
of
telling
us were
you.
there.
So
None
he
of us
Right.
were
doesn't
there.
have a clue as to what the issue is, because he hasn't done anything to his house except add a shed.
And he
Yeah.
bought it, right, from the builder. that
Who?
way.
Right, and the problem that we're having is that these guys up and down this little wetland strip don't know what's going on, because the affidavit condition was never followed through on. And so the guy who sold you the house,
Right.
or the previous owner, also didn't sign an affidavit saying that he knew what was going on with the wetlands and all this. So when he transferred the property to you, that condition once more wasn't fulfilled. And the idea is that, you're not surprised to find out that you've got a wetland on your property and there are rules and blah, 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 right?
Right, okay.
Okay, so let's talk about, interestingly enough, so I'm gonna lead with this, because I think this is probably the most important part. So one of the things that we frequently do to make a limit of construction is put large stones at the end of people's properties to show where the buffer zone is.
Right.
So we are not against large
Oh.
stones.
Good.
So I just want to lead with that, because I wanted to make
Okay.
sure that you felt comfortable, because that's
Yeah, no, that's,
where
Okay, good.
that's not a big thing. Now, the only problem, and I know Mike is secretly a Mason, he's not fooling anyone, but
I wish I was in the wall.
right. The best way to prepare for a wall, though, is you have to remove the material that's down below. You remove the dark soil,
right,
and then you would typically either put in stone dust or crushed stone
exactly.
to build a bed.
Yep.
Which means that you have to do some clearing and some excavation.
Okay.
Yeah, we put up silt fence.
Okay. So probably the best thing for us to do. So where actually is the wall laid out?
No.
I
Okay.
don't think that we're gonna remove any for the size stones he's gonna use. I think he's just gonna sit them right on the ground.
Right.
It's
Okay.
gonna be no formal, it's not like a poured wall.
Yeah, we're
It's
not
So it's a loose stacked wall?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just a stone wall.
All right. I don't want to speak to means and methods.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would. Okay. So why don't we do this? We were going to meet that nice young man at 9:00, right? So it would be nothing if Jerry and Mike were able to use a garden hose, which is the best way, to lay out on the ground where you want the wall to be,
Oh, okay.
so that we could come by and take a peek.
Okay.
That way, Brian could go by and take a peek on Monday, because I'm assuming you might not have time to do it tomorrow in case you have jobs or that kind of silliness. Then Brian could go take a look at it on Monday,
Okay. Good.
and then, well, in the post-apocalyptic world, what does it matter? And then
And
then-
out the window anyway.
I had no choice. I tried so hard.
Not until January 21st.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, because that's really when it kicks in. If you can lay the garden hose out on the ground, we'll
Okay.
come by at 8:30 on Saturday morning.
Great.
We'll take a look at what it is. We'll talk about what the conditions are,
Okay.
or what's most likely what we're gonna talk about to do the
Okay.
work.
Thank you.
And if all you're gonna be doing is stacking the stones on top, then we can potentially not even an RDA, potentially
Okay,
walk from it, because there's technically no disturbance.
great.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
right, they're wrong.
There won't be any disturbance to the wetland,
Right,
you know,
Absolutely.
and it's flagged, so we know where to stay out of.
that's
Beautiful.
perfect. So if you
Beautiful.
lay out where the hose is, we
We'll
can
do
talk
that.
about it together, and we can clear it up
Sounds
in 15, 20 minutes.
Thank you
that's
so much.
8:30 on
8:30.
Saturday.
30.
Saturday morning.
Right, and
Thank
you're
you.
in the corner of Hemlock.
Yep, 8 Hemlock, exactly.
No.
Thank you. Appreciate it,
Well, you know,
Brian,
I
thank you.
don't-
No, this is good. I mean, we want to do the right thing and everything, and we know that the developer hasn't done the right things, and we want to get this all fixed
What?
up, so. Well, what you told me anyway.
That is
so.
news to us.
Well, okay.
We should go back to the developer and fix the filled-in wetland.
Well, and that's.
That's
sort of-
actually
Yeah,
something
it's-
he's required to
It's a
do.
running requirement, and so like you may see a guy kicking around in those wetlands. I don't know that they're gonna ask permission necessarily. I don't know how that
Okay.
works on their end. But, you know, that's what they're there doing, is checking up on the wetlands and making sure
Okay.
that they're surviving and
Okay.
thriving and moving forward.
And they're surviving.
And so we're clear, the guy who's kicking around is Deshang Wang. He's
Yes.
a registered engineer. He's a professional.
And
He's
he
not
works for-
kicking around so much as he's doing his job.
And he works for.
He works for,
Okay.
he actually, by definition, is there at the request of the State Department of Environmental Protection,
Okay.
who demanded that this developer have a person on site to oversee work as time went on.
Okay.
Based
okay.
on previous violations.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you.
It's not a charity
I know you guys are busy, and
Right,
I
so-
really appreciate it.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
we'd be excited to see you Saturday morning.
Great.
Cup of coffee, everything, everybody out
Great.
at the, we'll look
He's
at the
kidding.
garden hose and go from there.
We'll make sure.
Well, no, don't put you in trouble.
Okay, thank you all, thank you all very
I have a
much.
question, I'm the other half
Oh, okay.
of that.
I said,
You're the mason?
You're the
You're
mason?
the certified.
Right,
Project
exactly.
manager.
Well,
Do you know the developer who they turfed the rest of their project to?
Oh, the new excavator, you mean? The new,
I thought they had a new
Builder.
the builder, yeah, do you know?
In other words, the,
Hey, Crabtree, I was told actually sold off their phase up by the water tank there.
Where the water
Oh.
tower is.
really?
Oh, no,
So
she's
Woodland-
right. They
so Wood-
changed the applicant name.
Oh,
Yeah.
they've
but
done
it's the
this.
same
It's the
company.
same
It's the
people.
same
They just set up a
people.
new
Mhm.
LLC.
Okay.
So they shed some liability over here.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
kind of
it's-
interesting.
Yeah.
yeah, now it's an
Yeah.
LLC for
Yeah.
limited liability.
Yeah, they do have
I'm sure there's an attorney and an accountant who could explain it far better than anyone in this
Okay.
room. But
Okay.
there's always a reason.
If
So,
you're trying to get money.
so it's the same people though, they haven't
Yeah.
actually.
As far as you know, yeah.
And, you know, for instance, Deshang, who was brought onto the phase of the project
And
that you
who's
guys brought.
Deshang?
Deshang Wang. He's
Yeah,
the,
he's
Oh,
the
this is
soil,
doctor.
yeah,
Oh,
he's
okay.
the soil
Doctor.
scientist and the
Okay.
wetland
Yes.
specialist and all that. And so he's actually involved in the Woodland Way work from the beginning,
Okay.
making sure that things go right from the get-go rather
Okay.
than, you know, trying to correct problems after the fact.
Okay,
So theoretically, Woodland Way will go smoothly with no hiccups.
okay, great.
You just great.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
on that note, thank you very much. We'll see you Saturday morning.
Thanks
And
for the help.
as to the question of you not being a professional mason, my understanding is with question 4 passing, anybody can get stone now? Just had to say.
That was a great.
She was waiting for that. Thinking,
I was holding it back for a while, but then you came out with yours.
That
Well,
has got to be the best one this year.
Wow.
It really rolled me with that one. All right.
Because Jess said it, it was funnier.
Oh.
hopefully I said that loud enough for the town to hear. Or maybe I shouldn't have. Sorry.
Okay.
Good times.
Oh, no distraction.
So we have 2 COCs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can tell you stories about them now.
Lot 27, 31 Pingree Way.
Yep. So, as you may have perhaps guessed, that replication did not happen.
That's interesting.
And
So there's a request for a COC on a property that isn't finished?
Mm.
Well, yeah.
Mm.
So these pictures
Can-
are
Can I ask one quick question,
Yes.
though? So this is 31 Pingree Way,
right,
lot 27?
right, and there are two orders of
Okay.
conditions that apply to that property.
Okay,
And the one order of condition is an infrastructure for the subdivision that, as far as I can tell, is strictly related to the stream crossing. So
Alright,
when you
well-
drive into that area, the bridge you go over is 100-73.
Really?
Wait, say that again, the bridge?
The bridge that you drive over to get into that subdivision
Right.
is 100-73. All of my notes, all of the references I can find to that deal with road width and that bridge, and
Hmm.
road width specifically at that bridge.
So Pingree Way is, that's the one that's,
It's a second left turn when you drive in.
yeah. So,
I'm still not, this is 100-73
Right,
and 130?
right.
These
So-
would be
So here's
15
our,
years old.
oh, these are back in the 90s.
Oh yeah. So
More than-
100-73 relates to this whole group of homes, and specifically to the bridge crossing here. So when they put in all those roads, as far as I can understand from the paperwork I have, 100-73 is the infrastructure order of conditions, and the only conversation they had that mattered was about the size of the crossing.
Hmm.
Am I pointing at the crossing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And arguing over 38 feet versus 24 feet versus, you know, zoning requirements versus planning desires, etc.
Hmm.
So, and I've got half a dozen partial COCs for 7-3.
Why am I having the hardest time figuring this? Thank you.
So for the subdivision, this is for the infrastructure that affected all the houses that abut the infrastructure.
Right.
So each house back then
Okay.
would have open orders for both the infrastructure portion and then for the
Yeah.
individual house?
Well,
Or
no,
for the,
because
That was on entirely the wrong property in my
Okay.
head.
100-130 is specifically for the neighboring house on the other side of the stream, where 31 Pingree, I believe it's 27 Pingree, that is the next house down. They
Next
act-
one is 3 Samantha, but I see what you
No,
mean.
no,
On here.
on the map, the next property, if you go Pingree Way, cross the wetland that's bordering our subject.
Okay, so this area here
Right.
is
This
in your
property.
photo.
Yeah, that's the photography over here.
I got you.
The filling that happened is on the property over here. So there's our wetland.
Okay.
And
Oh,
so
is there a
they,
photo of that?
no, I didn't go on their house. But there's actually, yeah, down
Good
here.
stuff. Thank you.
Let's see. Come on up. Hey, there we go. So these are all the, you can tell with the green ones. So there's the wetland behind the shed, and there's the stream,
Oy.
right? So now, if you look here, this replication wetland was put flush with the edge of the vegetated wetland, right? So, you know, I did some obviously off the cuff measurements, guessing here, you know, taking out the engineering ruler and trying to get it all to line up, and then giving them some buffer. You know, I was very generous with my measurement, and so I came up with that much missing measure. So let's assume I'm wrong. Let's assume my measurements are off somehow. But
So you're saying they
That's a
filled
lo-
in all of this and made it lawn?
they just,
There was never any
So they
replication. Well,
they never did
actually, to be
replication?
fair, so this neighborhood was built starting 20 years ago.
yeah.
20 years ago. It's entirely possible that these people trucked in fill and filled that in.
Sure.
In fact, it's entirely possible that they're the third or fourth owner of the home.
Right.
So the only thing that matters is that we cannot issue them a certificate of compliance because the lot is entirely out of compliance with what it's supposed to be.
Assuming that, you know, we you know, to actually find where the proper replication area should be off of that, we'd have to have a proper job go out and make sure all our lines are straight and et cetera, et cetera. But as far as I can tell, there's still not enough room for me to be wrong.
Well, so
that
this-
I would move this back, 30 feet.
Oh
into
yeah,
the
no,
woods.
no, 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 this puts us in a tough spot, because so right now, we know that we can't issue a certificate of compliance,
For 7.3. Sorry, for 1.30 we can. For 7.3,
which
sure.
is the infrastructure.
Right, we've
We
got,
can issue a partial,
yes,
okay,
So we cannot for 130.
right.
so 100-130, we
Okay.
have a property that is not in compliance, and so this is a certificate of compliance, not a certificate of kind in compliance. So they're not in compliance, but it's probably gonna put them in a very difficult spot, because unfortunately, the property is going to require some extensive renovation in order to put it in compliance. Never mind the fact that in doing so, they're probably gonna need to have the property surveyed in order to make sure they're in the right spot.
It's a whole big deal, yeah.
Are they trying to sell the house? Is that why they're
No,
here
they
for
just
this?
bought it.
They just bought it and this got missed before then?
So I got the request from the lawyer, 4 days before the property was gonna change hands.
Would you be so kind as to ask them to come in and so one of the things that would be super handy would be to either, and I do this all the time because it's so much easier than scanning stuff. Take a photo of that and find out how to put it up on here.
Yeah, that's my training for next week,
Yep,
is using this, because this
and
is
we'll show
awesome.
them, we'll show them this, we'll show them, we'll show them this picture, and we'll show them this plan, and we'll say, this is the conundrum. Because quite frankly, if they just bought the house, there's a entirely good possibility that this is something that they take up with either the previous owner
Mm-hmm.
or whoever they worked with.
Is there any other documentation in addition to this map?
No, this is the
Is-
one
is
that
this-
Rob brought in.
Is that, oh, this is from the other?
That map, if you pull that out and unfold it, is the map that goes along with the original request, the original 130, showing
Oh,
the,
this was, yeah, this is,
Right.
I remember now you saying,
Oh, wait, can I
someone
do
saying that. I'm getting there, I'm getting
right,
there.
where
No,
they
but I wanna-
said, this is the one that we destroyed, and this is where we're gonna put it back.
He likes to do
I
that.
let all the blue smell out before I got to it. That's the stuff.
So these two maps are it, and that's.
So the
all
good
I
news
got.
is they match. The good news is they match. So Rob is right in that this is helpful because it has like the house layout, etc. Okay. So there's nothing different. So here's the real key, is that according to this, 1 in 20, so we know that that's, what did you have, 127 feet? Seems about right. And back here, we've got a wetland area, that replication area, that's supposed to equal 700 square feet. And that has clearly not happened.
No.
Or, it happened at one point, and it isn't that way anymore.
Well, the other clue, which Jess, I believe, mentioned, because it was in your minutes, there was a certificate of compliance requested in 1999.
But that's what you told us, I think.
Right, but
Right.
there's a request in the files with
Yeah.
no notes associated.
Yeah.
So the educated guess is that somebody looked at this in 1999,
And said, you're not done.
and then it just faded away again.
Which brings up the next question, because I don't know. So let's say someone asks us to do a certificate of compliance, so obviously, the fact that there was no certificate of compliance attached to the deed should have stopped the house sale process. Somebody's attorney should have raised their hand. How do we now make sure that it doesn't happen again to the next person?
That's that affidavit thing where I tried to do a rewrite so that, we impose a condition that this kind of thing is done prior to.
Oh yeah, no.
So that's the only guess I've got.
But say, so now you're 6 people down.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, okay, so the nice people who just bought this house, tomorrow they win the lottery and they wanna move to Kathmandu. And so they're about to sell this house. How, other than the simple fact that somebody's attorney is supposed to find it, how do we make sure that everybody understands that there's an open order of conditions on the property, that the work was never finished?
Well, that's actually something that I'm trying to make happen with the project I'm doing with Pete.
Okay,
Because I'm gonna have databased all of the paperwork. So you can see when the last, the NOI date
Mhm.
theoretically, you're gonna be able to say this NOI expires on.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Oh,
I'm
that-
gonna try to figure out a way to get it on the town website. And that's, that's reaching out, I think, pretty far. I mean, obviously, you know anybody else doing something like that? Yeah.
I think that,
So that would,
feeling guilty. So I think that's,
I could lend you Pete, he's good at this.
no, I think that's absolutely the right way to do it, and it also puts us in a position to send a letter out to all those people and say, you have an open order of conditions on your property, so we're excited to work with you on a certificate of compliance and, and have folks come in and clear them up. That was one of the things we talked about, one of the great parts about having you have more time is we can start to do those things.
Yeah.
Because you can pop by and do exactly what you did here, and you can say, we can sign these 7. Heck, we can actually hand them the forms and say, just sign right here.
Yeah,
And we can sign these 7 and these 3 have issues, and we'll deal with them as they come.
yeah.
But-
And when Pete's done, we can have a big conversation about, like, I could just go door to door in a manner of speaking, say, here's your paperwork.
Yeah,
You know,
well, we'll
just-
send them a letter and just say, you have an open order of conditions.
Well, half them, like this whole development, we could sign off on 7.3 for like 30 different homes and be done with it.
That will be what,
But
issue a partial. But at the same time, we need to make sure, so for some of them, in fact, do they have to request that?
yeah, but the developer has to request. 6 homeowners down,
This guy's out of business 10 years ago.
right? The applicant has to request.
No.
Oh, well, it's written in that
Does the
way.
homeowner have to request? Actually, what if we wrote a letter that said, we're the Town Conservation Commission, you live on a property on Pingree Way, and there's an open order of conditions for the road work. We're having a meeting on December 8th. If you would like to be part of it, please come in for discussion. Otherwise, sign and send this back. We will be signing
doesn't have
off
to be
on the
that. I
road
know,
work
but
that
like,
night. And
if
this
they
will,
don't do it, the
and you'll
next
have this
owner-
available so that you can so you can clear this on your deed.
Yeah. But like in this case,
That's
like
a
in the
nice
show
thing to do.
Takashi, it says on condition 5 for the order of conditions, the applicant shall do the engineering drawing and then request the COC, which, if that never happens, they sell the home, they,
Well, none of them ever do the, so that's an important thing to think about. We've got all these infrastructures and roads. They don't get an as-built.
Mm.
But it's okay because the road usually gets accepted by DPW.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can do it in combination. We can say, you live on a property where an order of conditions was created for the road work here. The town accepted your road in 1997. The town accepted your road in 1997. Please sign and send this back, or attend our meeting on, April 4th, and we'd love to go through this with you, and we'll be signing off on these. Once you have this, you need to take it to the registry of, send it to the registry of deeds and get it attached to your deed, approximate cost XYZ. But this will clear up your deed, for any future
and
transactions.
this will be a spring, late winter, early
Sure.
spring job, I expect.
Well, it would be after town meeting.
Well, and also after I get the job done with Pete, because right now, these pop up like gophers, but I'd rather just do it in one fell.
Well, the other thing is that at that point, we need to identify those properties that cannot get a COC. Because quite frankly, if this property can't get a COC, it reverts back to the original conditions of their NOI.
You can sign off
So
on
an order of conditions was
7.3.
issued. So an order of conditions was issued, and right now, they are out of compliance with that order of conditions. That's where what I'm concerned about is that they come to us to get this squared away, and the reality is that unfortunately, we have to tell them that they are out of compliance and they need to fix this.
But they also can't do any work.
They'd have to do a whole NOI.
Right. Because the order
It's
has
expired.
so they can't just do the work.
They have to start over.
Yeah.
If they did the work to fix the problem, they'd be fixing the problem but doing it in violation of not having a permit.
So
This is going all the way back to square one and maybe to square
Mm-hmm.
-1.
would it be worth checking with DEP to see
How much?
if there are any ways around this, or?
So in other words, how do we
Oh.
not punish them for fixing
Right.
something that someone should have done
That's-
before them?
Yeah. Yeah.
If there's no way, there's no way, and that's disappointing,
Mhm.
which also puts them in a position to go and talk to the people, much like the gentleman who was here earlier, with David E. Ross. That's
Mhm.
extremely disappointing to me. But there's 2 attorneys that signed off on this.
Yeah,
Yeah, who never looked into it, who just, it's formula paperwork to them.
right.
Which brings up the, what up
But-
with that question?
And could, like if somebody needed an order of conditions to do the work in this kind of situation, could DEP waive the fee?
Well, I
For the
guess
sake
these
of
are-
getting a permit?
Maybe
That's
the,
an
maybe the
interesting
way, maybe
question.
the best way to do it is to put together, so we should have a
Yeah.
working meeting about this, right? So
Yeah.
we're already gonna have one working meeting about our other development next Monday?
Monday.
Monday is dedicated
Bylaw.
to the bylaw.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, so that's a working meeting, so we can have another one of these where we put all these together in a pile, and we say, okay, how do we do this?
Mhm.
How do we do this so that we're not punishing the person who probably had nothing to do with this?
Mhm.
Now, I'm certain that there will be situations where we're coming up on 3 years and they haven't asked for an extension and they need to, et cetera, and it causes a different problem, but that's a whole different set of circumstances. This house was most likely built at least 15 years ago.
Yeah.
At least 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And if they just bought it, they're certainly not the first owner. So, yeah, that's just
So-
disappointing as all get out.
So, I need to have a chat with DEP to find out about forgiveness, because that's a good
Well,
idea.
can I make so I'd like to
Yeah.
have the working group only because I want to put together a whole list, and actually I want to go to MACC,
Mm.
because I
I've
feel
got
like
so many questions hanging with them right now.
with MACC,
We're gonna have to become like the sponsor commission of MSC.
well, all I'm suggesting is that hopefully they've run into this before,
Yeah.
and maybe there is some way around it. If there isn't, then going to DEP, so we do have a new circuit rider. Have you met her?
No, not face to face, but.
New? Like yesterday new, or like
No,
a year and a half ago new?
Year and a half ago.
Here.
Okay.
But she's never been here, and if she's never been to Groton, so it might be a great idea to put together a list of questions for her and then send it to her and say, we'd love to meet with you, and oh, by the way, here's a bunch of stuff that we're tumbling around, can you help us?
Mm.
But if MACC says, oh yeah, we just did that in Easton and Falmouth and in Brockton, here you go, then that's a lot easier than chasing our own circuit rider.
Right.
Mhm.
So then we'll give them their partial on 7-3, and we're just gonna hold 130 and use it as an educational template kind of thing?
Yeah, they're welcome to come in and schedule in a meeting, but I
So
would.
would you like me to invite them in prior to having
No.
answers?
Nope.
Okay.
No, they're welcome to come in if they want to talk about it. That's what I'm saying. I would not invite them. In fact, if I were you, I would say, here's what we came up with. The area back, and show me a picture. The area back in your backyard is supposed to be a wetland. It's a lawn. We can't sign off. We're working to figure out how we can help you make this as painless as possible, but we can never sign off until it looks like this. And right now it looks like grass. So we want to, tell them that, any discussion we have is all based on us trying to get information from the state, and we don't have that information yet. Promise we'll let them know as soon as we know.
Alright. And then, this is, 100-A9 Samantha Lane. It's another one of those, all the homes on the property, all the homes in the original development are subject to this DEP number. And, this is a partial we did in the spring. So this is another example
Pass that,
of,
sir. Actually, well, before we do that, just so we don't forget, so I would accept a motion. So based on the certificate of compliance, you've indicated that 100-73 purely relates to the entranceway to the property.
as far as I can tell, if it goes beyond that, it's simply to specify the width of the road and the rest of the development.
Okay. And we all know that that road has been accepted by the town for some time. So that doesn't necessarily mean that anyone checked it for the other aspects, but I think we can feel safe to say that the road is now under the protection of the town of Ayer. There are clearly, at minimum, of one culvert pipe that runs under it for Bennettsbrook. We know that for a fact.
Mhm.
So, okay, so I would accept a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 31 Pingree Way for DEP partial certificate of compliance for file number 100-73.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Partial.
It's a partial because it's the whole,
Each,
it's a partial for them over the whole filing, 100-73.
If all the work's done, why can't we just issue a complete?
because
For the road?
doesn't it,
That's
Yeah,
kind of a
doesn't
carts
it-
and horses thing.
because it, wasn't it the, when they did the whole subdivision back then, when they did a single order of conditions, it still applies to each individual listing in the
thought-
registry?
I thought if we had 10 properties, they all got 10 partials. There wasn't
Yeah.
the only way you could have one complete would be if the developer came to you and he still owned all the property, put the road in, and he got a final. We could issue him a final if it only applied to him.
Mhm.
But as soon as it applies to all those other properties, I guess
Do we know that that's the way it's set up?
Not for a fact, but it sounds good.
Okay.
I
Want to find out.
I'll put it this way. I feel more comfortable with partial, knowing what we know, than complete.
Okay.
We could hold off and do complete later, but
No.
I don't know that we're helping these people.
Well, and isn't the fact that these people came to us asking about COCs
Yeah, I don't-
indicates that their deed says
I
we've
don't-
got these open?
Mm.
This feels like a right gesture.
Okay.
I appreciate where you're coming from. I just don't.
Let's put it this way, George. We're gonna do this in February or March or April, and just issue as many of these structural certificates as we can manage. Once I line all those ducks up, and we'll just do it like factory. You're gonna have like 1,000 partials coming around. You guys are gonna get carpal tunnel.
No, I don't think we can have more than 385.
Can we do stamps?
Hey,
Oh wait,
Partials?
partials though. Yeah, never mind.
gets
Well,
close.
I sort of like signing my autograph.
Okay.
Makes me feel important.
So we had discussion. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I
And here's the other one that's the same story. 89, Samantha.
So where's Samantha Lane again?
As you approach the town beach,
Yeah. if
before
you're-
the guy with the wood.
Oh, right,
the
Yeah.
guy with the wood,
Oh,
and then the little bit of a creek.
right. Oh,
Adjacent
yeah.
to him. And then that next house is the
That's
first
This
property.
is- she's
as
the lady
part
at the. Right. We had that lady who lived at the back, and this
Yep.
is now the lady who lives in the front.
Yep.
Okay. And this one is complete. You're good.
Oh yeah, I was good, 6 months ago, but nothing. Yeah.
Okay. I would accept a motion to issue the certificate of compliance for DEP file number 100-89 for the property located at 3 Samantha Lane.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Yeah, this is a partial?
Yeah.
I thought it said complete.
No, that's a partial.
Because we talked about it at our last meeting to look into whether we could also do everybody
Yeah,
else
flip
on
up,
that
though. For some
street.
reason, I thought it said complete.
Hey, if they requested it,
It does say complete.
I'm okay signing off on a complete for that particular number. But it will impact 4 or 5 homeowners who won't
Right.
know that they have a signed off DEP
Right.
number.
Let's do this. Go ahead. And then,
Sorry.
yes, please. The other ones should all have it on their deed. By definition. So, make sure that you log this in your book as being one that this is signed off as complete, but at a minimum we need to, through the mechanics, do the others as partials.
You just lost me. You want me to?
So we need to, so remember, all those other houses, just because we signed off on this one is complete, all those other houses still have it on their deeds. Ostensibly.
Yeah.
I'll call the registry.
Well, you should be able to look it up, right? Can't you look that up from home?
Yes. Oh, you mean if
It's just the same thing we just,
It's the same
it's
thing
the
we were just
exact
saying
same
about,
question.
yeah,
right, 10 properties,
or whatever.
one roadway. The thing to find out is, are they all on that one roadway or not?
They are all under 7.3.
Okay?
The
so-
half dozen properties.
So if we issue a complete, then
then you've given 4 people who haven't asked for one complete.
Basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Although if they never know about it and don't record it, then
Right.
it's still on there.
That's what I'm saying. So that's
Mhm.
why I'm saying you need to mark down in your book that we just issued a complete, which means we now need to notify those other 4 houses that they have this, that they didn't even ask for.
They have
This-
it available to them
Right.
if they want it.
Well, we're gonna tell them that, you know, we're gonna send in the
Or
paperwork.
we could just scratch out that check mark and check it here and deal with this all as one fell swoop when we bring it up for everything else.
I don't have any problem with that, other than the fact that it's filled out and will look like potatoes. Anybody have any issue crossing out the X and checking the other box?
So,
Because this opens up a can of worms, and
Yeah.
we have enough worms crawling around right now.
so we're gonna check off partial.
I know who boxed, that's why I'm looking at you. So, do you have any thoughts? About this specifically?
I mean, this question is on the to-do list, and dealing with this is, you know, the plan for what? April, March-ish. And so, like, we want to do it, but I don't want to do it haphazardly in the middle of all this other business we're dealing with.
We should be consistent.
I agree. So why don't we,
And Pete's almost finished, right? So, or will be.
He's doing pretty good. He's getting
By the end
down.
of the
He's
year.
down to he's got about 100 left.
alright, so we need to white out that,
Yeah.
or whatever the appropriate method is, and check the other box. So here, this will make me feel better.
Usually
See?
what you do is we all
Yes, actually, let's do
all of
that.
our initials,
Okay.
See if it's light out over here.
it's the legal thing.
These.
So I'm gonna check partial certification right now. And I put my initials next to it so that somebody can challenge it later. And then we'll just white that out. Alright, while he's looking for whiteout, what is our next? And it is astounding to me that it's still even made.
It's still what?
That whiteout is still made.
Well,
I-
attorneys still use whiteout.
That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I put a check mark on here. Oh wait, there's crayons. Well, if you were gonna find whiteout, this would be the place to find it. No? Nothing? Pass that down, please. Okay. Let's move on to Jonathan Drive, notice of intent, construction of a single-family home.
Right. Go. So I passed along the excerpt from the minutes discussing the stone drain that you guys had called out as a special order. And Charlie was like, yeah, no, that doesn't fly. The building department would frown upon that.
Okay.
And so
Did you talk to the building department?
Charlie is the building inspector.
Yeah. Gabe retired.
Oh, officially? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, Gabe
Or
is
he's
still on
returned?
for like 3.5 hours a week. He's the building commissioner, I believe. He's the official.
There's.
Anyway.
Wait, no. That's
No, Gabe is coming in about 4 hours a week, and Charlie's doing the day-to-day.
And what's Charlie's last name?
I would misspell it.
Okay. But he's the,
That's a long name.
what's his title?
I think he's the building inspector.
Okay.
He's not the assistant building inspector?
I don't.
Well, not if you've got a commissioner. No, you wouldn't.
like we have
So what's Gabe?
2 people
I
doing
know, I don't.
Well,
know.
so I will tell you that Gabe was never full-time
Right,
and needed to be.
right.
Gabe was in on Tuesdays and Thursdays,
Yeah, yeah.
and that was one of those holdovers from,
Right,
you know, and there needed to be, and in fact, at one point, he had an assistant who worked with him, and they did, so that they were able to capture all the, you know, myriad inspections that needed to happen.
Mhm.
One of the ways that towns get around that, by the way, just so that you know that this is safe,
Oh,
is often they require that an engineering affidavit is done.
Mhm.
So if you do anything bigger than a house foundation,
Mhm.
they require that an engineer designs it, witnesses it,
Mhm.
and signs off on it.
Mhm.
So at that point, the building inspector later on, if somebody says that foundation cracked, he says, oh,
Yeah.
did you talk to Fred Thompson, PE? He's the one who signed off.
Right.
So anyway,
Right.
so,
right. So I
Charlie
relayed
says.
this problem to Rob, and Rob doesn't understand why this is a problem because he's done it in other towns and it works fine.
So going back one step, stone trench,
Yeah.
not approved.
Yeah, it would, the building department would disapprove the building.
On what basis?
I don't know. I've got an email out to him and I'll see him hopefully on Monday and I'm gonna try to figure out, so my assumption, since I missed the meeting,
Oh, that's right, there's no meeting tomorrow, no work tomorrow.
Right.
my assumption is that you guys wanted that there to manage the erosive potential power of the runoff from the roof.
Correct.
And the applicant did not want to put gutters in.
He specifically stated he didn't want to put gutters on.
Okay, so the question I have to answer with Charlie is how would the building department approve of managing the stormwater flowing off the roof and preventing it from creating any erosive problems
So,
between the home and the wetland?
and let him know, just tell him, so first off, I'd use the word rainwater. So, because stormwater sounds bad.
No, stormwater, it's, as soon as it hits something man-made, it becomes stormwater, right?
Stormwater is the technical term.
It's rainwater up there.
Uh-huh.
Till it falls off that roof.
Rainwater.
Until it falls off that roof.
We do
It's
regulate.
rainwater. So here's what I would say.
God
Please
needs
let-
to file a no.
Please
NOI.
Please let Charlie know that this would be a decision that impacts all of our upcoming NOIs and RDAs. Because every house, we've allowed the flexibility between the rainwater trench or gutters and a French drain or whatever. So if he wants to tell us what his thought process is, that would be huge.
Right.
And we can put that in our toolkit to say, in the town of Ayer, if you build a new house and you have rainwater that you have to deal with, here's how it's dealt with in the town of Ayer. Here's how it's dealt with in the town of Ayer.
Right. So I think the reason Rob decided not to bother was because I basically said let's work this out because Charlie was under the impression that we had finished and signed off on it. And I was like, well, not quite. Most of the way there. We have time to fix this. So I understand the problem. I properly predicted the your conversation.
You
Cool.
remember you thought stormwater over rainwater? You thought that would come up?
Absolutely.
See, you got to write these things on a piece of paper and mail them to Bonnie so she can open them with a flourish during the meeting.
Again, yes. So you
Yeah.
need to-
So next meeting you need to bring your
More
monocle
letters.
and your top hat and your cane. So we've got that sitting. If you want, you guys can sign off on the orders, and if according to Charlie and myself, we sort of in there speaking, we work it out amongst ourselves. I know the issue we're trying to work through, and then they don't have to wait for December or not.
Well, I'm okay signing off as long as we agree that there's only two options. One is the stone trench that we've agreed to, and the other is gutters and a French drain. So I don't
Would
know
there
if
be a third way?
that's what I'm just. Does
if
anybody have a
Charlie
third
presented-
option?
So gutters and French drain or stone trenches?
Right. Those are the two that we've applied in the past. So is there a third option that somebody knows about that I don't know about?
Rain barrel? I don't know. But that requires,
Not in the winter.
Gutters.
yeah.
Rain garden.
Hold on. First off, rain barrel, rain water. So a rain garden. So the only thing about a rain garden is
Is
you
there
need
room for
stone.
one?
Yeah, it doesn't fall down in the dirt. It falls down into a pipe that goes into the. So it's collected with gutters again.
Mhm.
So we're back to gutters. So you're either collecting it at the roof, right? The rainwater. You're collecting the rainwater at the roof and channeling it somewhere, or you're letting it fall off the roof and letting it become dirty stormwater. So I don't know of
Alright.
another way,
I'll
unless
hold on
they
to this.
pour concrete.
So we'll do this in December. It sounds like there's gonna be a lot of back and forth with everybody.
Well, I'll put it this way: unless anyone has any discussion points about it, I'm happy to sign it because, as far as I'm concerned, those are the only two options, and the landowner, the applicant, is probably going to be driven to gutters, whether he wants to do them or not. If he can't do the stone trench,
Well-
anybody have any issue if he's driven to gutters?
No,
Well-
but I'm not gonna sign anything.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so he's on hold for a month because the building inspector.
Yeah.
Does
That's
he-
Yeah.
disappointing.
Because, we have a requirement to make sure that the water, whether it's rainwater or stormwater, that the stormwater is handled appropriately. I mean, yeah. So
No, I'm saying the same thing.
Right.
I'm saying the same thing. What I'm saying is that, so I'm willing to sign that if at the end of the day, it's option A or B, which we've all agreed on are appropriate options, ducting it with gutters or dropping it onto a stone channel. If there's another option that I don't know about, then I would say that we would not approve, we would not pass that on. I'm trying to save them a month.
Yeah, I understand where
That's all.
you're going, but you know, it's not gonna. I want to see it on the plan. I mean, we're gonna have to.
Fair enough.
Then we need to be able to, if needed, enforce. Say they build a house and there's a problem with runoff because of the stormwater.
Needs to be crystal.
If
Nope.
it's not on the plan, and how do we what are we enforcing? Nothing.
If you're looking for it on the plan, again, I don't have any problem. We can make them wait.
And I
It
believe
just feels
our template for boilerplate conditions now require as-built plans,
sure.
and the as-built plans should pretty much look exactly like the plan that we approved,
That's what's different.
It's close.
which should show whatever
Yeah.
the roof runoff mitigation is. So
We're on the same page. All I was suggesting is that in the buffet that's in front of us, if they picked A or B, then I had no problem with Brian handing them the signed order of conditions. If that's not an option and it goes in some other direction, then you're right. That has to come up before us.
and if they had more room on the site, then maybe they could do some creative grading and
Oh, I
and
have-
stuff. But they don't have any room.
They
to
have
do it,
no
so-
room, and I guess I'm more concerned about the fact that I don't understand where the building inspector is coming from. So
I
I'm
don't either.
interested to find out.
And
I am interested to find out.
But since the builder also made it a point that he did not want to use gutters,
Yeah, he
I
actually
would just as soon wait and sign until he was here and agreed on record that he would be using gutters
Well,
if that was the way to go.
as long as the
Um,
plans come back to us and that's
right.
what they show.
Right.
So
We have issues with non-compliance otherwise with other, so,
that was disappointing.
yeah.
Okay. So we had moved this to 8 o'clock. So first off, so sorry, what we should have done was open the public hearing for DEP file number 100-0395. And I would accept a motion to continue that public hearing to our December 8th meeting based upon the fact that we are not in a position to close the hearing.
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So that's continued to 12/8. I do want to hear what that rationale is. That doesn't make sense to me. It would be exciting to learn something new. Maybe there's some new reason why it's not a good idea. Okay. We are right at 9 o'clock, and we are right at 8 o'clock on our meeting template.
To be fair, lots of things crept into this meeting.
Oh no! I'm just
I think we're
putting
doing pretty good all of
I'm
these.
putting everything in perspective. Okay. Well, let's do 8 o'clock enforcement of property transfer affidavit. So what are we
So this is
accomplishing?
the same thing as last time. The only change that happened from when you had the first draft letter is that I sent the conditions to Eugene and Mac to ask for an opinion on whether or not we could, write up a letter to this effect saying, we have to enforce and, even though property has changed hands underneath you several times, you're still responsible to the document you signed. And I'm waiting on that. So if you've had any thoughts on this particular issue,
So
or any edits on this particular letter that it's built to be changed, and so if there's anything you'd like to change, let's do it, and otherwise we'll just wait on Eugene.
well, I know last time when we were here, I think we were trying to make sure that we understood what the final design was. So recognizes the history of confusion having to do with property transfers at Ridgeview Heights Development and the required affidavits that the new homeowner understands their responsibilities under the Wetland Protection Act and the submittal of same to the Conservation Commission. The Commission has decided not to pursue any further action related to these past violations of the orders of conditions. So I think one of the things we thought of is that doesn't apply to everybody. Not everybody has violations.
This is specific to the Ridgeview Heights situation and specific to the fact that Roper, in whatever applicant status he has in one form or another, has habitually, blown off that particular condition. So this would only apply to properties under one of Roper's companies that still has an open order.
Has an open order, and the people didn't sign the affidavit?
Right.
Okay, so,
If an affidavit has been signed, then great, they abided by their order, they've done their part. So
Okay.
the property changes hands.
but you're
it's the
not
property
sending
owner.
this to Roper? Are you
No, I'm
sending
sending it
this?
to the applicant, which is the Ridgeview Heights, home office. Or
Okay, so effectively you are sending it to Roper. We're not sending this to homeowners?
No.
Okay, so dear applicant is really dear Roper.
Or, his LLC,
Yeah.
because he has two of them at least kicking around.
Just to be efficient, I'm changing applicant to Roper.
Right.
Okay. Recognize the history and the required affidavits, submittal of same. Commission has decided to, okay. So I think you can remove the submittal of same to Conservation Commission because it just extends it out. Commission has decided, okay.
I'm gonna have to get you guys bigger binders.
And the required affidavits for the new homeowner. The new homeowner understands the responsibility.
Every time you fill that thing up.
The commission has decided not to pursue any further action to these past conditions. Okay, so the violation is with regard to the affidavit.
Yes.
Okay, so I think, is it always the same boilerplate number?
So far.
Okay, so it seems to make sense that it's a violation of condition
24.
and I would say in the standard order of conditions.
Like to really follow through on this, I can also call out the DEP numbers where I don't have affidavits.
I've learned that I write how I speak as well. And so, however, going forward, that doesn't help because then the person just doesn't read it. So you just say, going forward, you're talking to instead of acting like you're a conversationalist, you're talking to a 2-year-old. Going forward, we expect the applicant to adhere to all details within an open order of conditions, no matter how many property owners have bought or sold said property. So, going forward, we expect the applicant to adhere to all details?
So again, the applicant, is Roper's company, and the applicant has signed off on, abiding by the order of conditions. So the homeowner has never signed off on it, and so if they, sign an affidavit and they then acknowledge the responsibility, they buy in.
Perfect. So what we should
Right.
say here is, going forward, on those properties where the affidavit was not procured
Nice word.
from the homeowner,
Scrabble.
from the new owner, we expect the applicant to adhere to all details within the open order of conditions. I'm going to cross out the how many property owners. I'm just going to say,
Could we, instead of we expect, could we say the applicant remains, the original applicant
going
remains
forward
responsible?
on those properties where the affidavit was not procured from the new owner, the applicant, so instead of we expect, the applicant is required, or the applicant
Remains responsible.
remains responsible. I like that better. In fact, I would put the applicant remains responsible for
Adherence.
No, just say for the open order of conditions.
No, I'd say for adherence to all the detail, to all the,
Well, we've got that in the next sentence.
Yeah.
Responsibility for adherence to the
Oh, okay.
orders lies with the applicant rather than the current, past, or future homeowner until such time that a certificate of compliance has been issued. Homeowners unaware of the orders of conditions may violate the Wetland Protection Act and by their actions make adherence to the order of conditions more difficult for the applicant. Failure to adhere to the order of conditions may lead to enforcement actions. Please keep this in mind as properties are transferred in the future. Perfect.
did you say failure to adhere to the order of conditions may lead to enforcement?
Hold on,
Oh.
I'm all messy now.
Okay.
Okay. Going forward, on those properties where the affidavit was not procured, where the signed affidavit was not procured from the new owner, this is why I type, the applicant remains responsible for the open order of conditions.
Okay.
Responsibility for adherence to the order lies with the applicant rather than the current, past, or future homeowners.
So, and in this case, the applicant is the applicant of record on,
The applicant of record on the DEP number OOC.
Right. You own it until you clean it up.
Right.
but we're addressing it not to dear applicant, but to dear,
Mr. Roper, because he's the
Well,
applicant.
no, Roper is not the applicant,
Well,
it's the company.
I crossed out applicant and put Roper because I don't want to mix this up in my head and think that we're sending
no,
it to some poor
I understand
homeowner.
why you put Roper, yeah. I don't know, just,
Right, and I'm
do we
gonna-
ever, do we say anywhere in there to make it clear to Roper that he's the applicant?
I'm gonna just copy directly from whatever is on the NOI paperwork for applicant, and then if there's a representative listed, which generally is gonna be Steve, you know, I'll also like sort of do a CC type thing, and I'll bring back the letter.
Well, you can just do it as, you know, when we get one, it says who the applicant is,
Right,
and then
and
it says,
If they've got a representative, it's
Right.
got that listed as well.
so you just list that and you
Right.
send it to the representative, because at the time of that action, he was their representative. However, you send it to the other address,
Right,
because you don't want them to say, oh, we fired him.
right, and I'll probably send it certified and uncertified.
There you go. Why uncertified?
Well, you know, if they're not there, they can't sign for it.
I'd send it certified no matter what.
Well, I am, but that's the thing, so like it doesn't bounce off. Because like, for instance, the issue we had over on Vermark Street with that wetland filling, I got that back. If you recall, he was sitting here and he didn't ever receive the violation, the letter.
He didn't pick it up, I think.
Yeah, he never
Oh, he
signed
never
for
went
it.
to the,
Right.
interesting.
And so sending both,
At least guarantees one of them gets there. Fair enough. Okay. So you captured this for Brian?
What?
All the notes that we took?
I'm taking your copy too.
You're not gonna be able to read
I
it.
know.
You're certainly welcome
Oh.
to, but I guarantee you're not gonna be able to do anything with it.
What I have is.
I had trouble just reading it. I don't write anymore. No one writes anymore. I do this. I measure, I make a line, and I make a tick mark, so I know how to cut with a saw, but otherwise I type. Everything.
Going forward on those properties where the affidavit, the signed affidavit was not procured from the new owner.
Hold on. Going forward, on those properties where the signed affidavit was not procured from the new owner, comma, the applicant remains responsible for the open order of conditions. And then the next line, responsibility for adherence to the owner lies
the
with
order.
the applicant, rather than the current, past, or future homeowners, until such time that a certificate of compliance has been issued. Homeowners mess up your order by violating the Wetland Protection Act, and it's your problem. I summarized the last 3 sentences. Okay, that's perfect.
I would actually just change, the very second to last line, I would probably put failure to adhere to the order of conditions may lead to enforcement actions against the applicant, what'd you say, Takshi? The applicant of record.
I like it. Actually, how about all parties? That covers the homeowner, the applicant of record.
Okay.
Well, we've mentioned them both. We mentioned the applicant, we mentioned the homeowner.
I would just be a little careful with tenses in the sense that we've been addressing this to the applicant of
Mhm.
record the whole way down. And then at the very end, to sort of mix and match homeowners with applicant of record being subject to punishment.
Well, we say on here, homeowners unaware may violate the Wetland Protection Act and make it more difficult for the applicant. But at the end of the day, if the homeowner digs and puts a pool in,
There's still, yeah.
Um,
Mm.
well, it could be, this is, but, okay, so we could say, instead of failure to adhere to the order, in such cases,
well, how about this?
Yeah.
Failure to adhere to the order of conditions may lead to enforcement actions is pretty wide open and doesn't put us in any position ever.
Yeah,
Yeah, make it general,
yeah.
yeah.
Look at that. I understand where you were headed, but this means that now we're not defining.
So how did you read that?
Little lawyer.
I didn't change anything.
Okay.
And I'm actually tempted to take out the, please keep this in mind as properties are transferred in the future, because the point of this letter is to say that you've done this and now we want you to understand that, like we've talked about in our meetings, you are responsible for those problems. Putting in, please keep this in mind as properties are transferred in the future, you know, is a lot like saying, don't jump off a short, don't take a long leap off a short pier.
Unless you're really strong, you can jump far.
Well, at this point, the only thing I know is that every order of conditions tells them they're supposed to get the affidavit signed off.
Yeah.
So mentioning this doesn't,
And I have very few affidavits.
this is a nicety that doesn't matter. So the last sentence should go away.
And can we change in the previous sentence, may lead to enforcement actions? Could we just say, will lead to enforcement actions?
There you go. All right. Thank you, Brian, for starting that. So we'll send that out. Next, 8:15, RFP for vegetation management. Well, this should be easy.
And this one you all have a copy of because I didn't give you one last week. Or sorry, last meeting.
Right. RFP?
Yeah. And this is Jess's baby, so the floor is yours.
Uh-huh. So I put together our 2011 RFP for Sandy Pond and Flanagan Pond. I merged that with the 2013 RFP for Flanagan Pond. Put in red some various questions for various sections.
Oh, boy.
Hmm?
I was wrong. This will not be easy.
Well,
What was wrong with the one we did before?
what do you mean?
Well, remember we spent weeks and weeks talking about that other one. We've got a ton of questions on here.
No, well, because in the Sandy Pond ones, we weren't talking about the 90% threshold. We changed that. We had changed that by 2013. You wanted me to look at the minutes,
To see what we had problems with.
and one of the things, did I?
Not to jump while you're looking, but
Yeah.
I thought the reason we didn't do the 90% in Sandy Pond is because Sandy Pond, there were such limited areas. It was really
No,
point
I think we had,
fix.
I think because the Flanagan Pond was treated first in 2012,
Sure.
okay? And then we weren't quite as pleased with the, I think it was Lycott's. They didn't have the same standard of proof of completion of the task as ACT had, I think, the previous year with Sandy Pond.
I don't think they had to,
Right, but we had
because there
liked
were
what.
two different RFPs.
Right. So I think by the time we got to 2013, we decided to up it to 90%.
Right, but what I mean is,
Yeah.
so we created what I would like to say was a new and improved RFP
Right.
the same year that Friends of Flanagan's drove the discussion on Flanagan's Ponds RFP.
Right.
And they supplied their RFP to us, remember? And it was based on our old RFP.
No, we did the RFP.
No, the very first one, they did it. I remember this like it was yesterday, because I remember saying to Becky, hold on a sec, they just had town meeting and now we have to do their RFP, and Becky said, no, I already brought that up, they've got the RFP here for us.
Really?
There were 2 different RFPs issued that year, and one of them was ours, that we went through and came up with the GPS,
Yeah,
and the other one was theirs, which did not.
yeah.
Anybody else remember that?
Sure.
Oh,
I've got a very clear memory of that.
so the point is that,
Hmm.
the point is that we had one that we came up with which said mark with GPS, and you remember, as you're remembering,
Mhm.
that was what ended up happening the next time around,
Yeah,
because we got those kind of results from
yeah.
ACT when they did when they did Flanagan's in what, 13?
Yeah, 2012 and 2013.
Right. Okay, so
Mhm.
whatever happened in 2013, that was the one that I felt we were most happy with. So
Yeah.
I think the only concern, and I think you brought it up at our last meeting, was we had a concern about density. So yes, they reduced the amount of weeds in general area, but what do we do about the fact that they could still be
Make your computer easier to use.
packed in tight in those areas?
And this list automatically.
that.
What do we keep trying to do here?
Turn it off.
Oh,
I just push
did
the
you
off
click
button.
that button?
Yeah, that's why it just spoke.
Well, I think that's an ease of access button.
Yeah.
No, this was, remember we did this last time, you have to hit Control Alt Delete to get the button that lets you shut it off.
Don't remember that. Okay.
No, I think we figured it out at our meeting once. Yeah, see, there you get that off button.
Um,
And we had the same exact experience, so now you know.
Such a weird. Anyway, I couldn't find. I pushed the power button. I got here.
Microsoft.
Everybody's best friend.
Okay, regarding, when we were putting together the 2013 RFP, we had discussion about the 2012,
We'll get that RDA we were talking about.
yeah.
For
right.
80.
Yeah, we had discussion about the 2012 treatment of Flanagan Pond by LICOT, and at that point, I think we'd asked for 85%.
Right.
Right. And we had noted that their report of the 2012 work never contained an explicit statement of having achieved the 85% eradication, right? And somewhere, give me 1 second here.
Well, I tell you what.
Okay.
So, the first one that's on here is Sandy Pond.
Yeah.
So we have the standard statement about how big Sandy Pond is and what's in it. We talked about using sonar and reward. Were those mentioned in any of the paperwork? Does anybody remember if those were mentioned in any of the paperwork from, I'm having the hardest time tonight with names.
What paperwork?
The study that we had done, did he mention?
Geosyntech.
Yes.
Geosyntech?
Yes.
Okay. Did he mention, I remember, why did I think it was rodeo?
That's not an aquatic.
Rodeo is
Application.
herbicide for like corn.
Oh,
Rodeo is glyphosate formulated for a specific type of use on land.
so this is the kind of stuff that Monsanto's plays at night and just gets stuck in your head? You know, I believe that. I have a tinfoil hat. All right. So I don't remember if there was a distinction made in any of that paperwork regarding reward or sonar. That would be my only question.
Yeah.
I don't remember him saying, you know, use one over the other, but I also,
Yeah, but I think we had moved away from wanting to absolutely specify because we thought that should be up to them to tell us what the best thing is to use because things
Well,
could change.
we're saying here, sonar has been identified as a potential herbicide and reward can be used for follow-up.
Yeah,
So obviously, we don't want to say that if
Right.
we don't want to,
right. So, so the question is, if you look at the next section, Flanagan Pond, that's the section that's our
Look at all this red
2013.
under Sandy.
I know, but the Flanagan's would be the 2013 wording. So, the other thing I had, one of the questions I had, which is some of the red stuff, is based on the geosyntech report, do we want to add in some of the other vegetation that was mentioned?
Absolutely.
That's, and if so,
So-
which? So that's
Well-
why I put in all that in red. But,
In the first part,
some of that.
water lilies, water shield, okay. So, right, so it says here, objective of the project, control the widespread growth of invasive and nuisance plants, specifically the eradication of 90% of fanwort and variable leaf water milfoil. So you're suggesting it should say fanwort, comma, water lilies, comma, water shield, comma, and variable leaf water milfoil?
Yeah, where'd you get, wait, say that again?
So in the,
Specifically,
under it says, so it starts
Yeah.
out by saying Flanagan's Pond encompasses.
yeah,
Next sentence, the objective
yeah,
is to control these nuisance plants,
right.
specifically the eradication of 90% of, and then it says fanwort.
Mhm.
So you're saying we should include water lilies and water shield in that sentence?
Yeah, but question mark, because those aren't necessarily, water lilies and water shield aren't invasives, are they? They're
No.
native.
They're native.
So do we want a 90% reduction there or just want thinning? So that's, do you see what I mean?
Well, I
We
guess that's
can
where
want
that-
90% reduction or eradication of invasives, but the others, is our goal more thinning, right?
But I think I don't think you can, I don't know, can you separate the two?
Yeah, that's.
Does the herbicide,
Yeah.
So, no, there's gonna be die-off, and so I would just leave it as an assumed die-off of this other stuff.
Okay.
But
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't feel comfortable saying we're spending, 40, whatever,
40 grand?
to kill 90% of the native vegetation in this pond.
I'm not comfortable with it either.
Yeah, so, and
But I remember, but I guess so. So what we're saying is, rather than state it outright, we're accepting the losses in the attempt to control the nuisance plants.
yeah, so my preference would be to just speak to the plants that we're targeting, and,
Okay.
and just
So just leave as is.
that would be
Yeah.
mine.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I concur.
Right. So, so the issue is that they impede recreational use, but as there's going to be there's
Yeah.
removal of them during the process, just by the simple fact that the herbicide
Right.
Mhm.
takes some of them out.
Mhm.
Reminds me of so I was cleaning and I found a 1973 Mass Wildlife book. So you know the Mass Wildlife that you get,
Mhm.
4 times a year.
Yeah.
And in it they talked about how they would, I can't remember what the word they used was, but basically they would clean out a pond by dropping in poison that made the fish's gills not work. And then they would scoop them up, and then they would introduce the fish that they wanted in there.
Like trout.
Trout, bass.
Yeah, whatever.
So they'd get in and they'd find there was too many yellow or white perch, and they'd be like, oh,
Yeah, we
we
don't
should
want-
just kill this off. And they would kill the entire pond off, and then go from there.
Yeah,
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 I found that horrific.
yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
Don't let that fall into the wrong hands.
no,
the,
Are there going to be any red ones? Oh, they're all red.
okay, so.
So what we're saying, so
Yeah,
these
so we're-
red, so we're saying that we're not going to ask you to remove the water lilies.
Okay,
Okay, so let's go back to Sandy Pond.
we'll just accept that as unmentioned collateral damage of a good sort.
There you are.
And do we want
Like
to
the
keep,
runner-up at a US Miss
Right.
America pageant.
so do we want to keep the mention of sonar and reward in there?
Well, I think
I think that's a given, right?
Yeah, okay.
I think we,
I don't know of any
Given what?
others.
so that they only use two.
Yeah,
They're gonna either use one or the other.
Unless the third option somehow miraculously approved in Massachusetts, and then we have that available to them, right?
Yeah,
I
Well, we don't-
could go either way on this, I mean,
Yeah, we don't obviate anything.
right.
Says sonar has been identified. The only thing I don't like is we say reward may be used for follow-up control of milfoil.
Yeah.
It suggests that we're saying that you use reward for follow-up control.
I would just say follow-up control of milfoil, should be done if necessary.
Well, I mean, if they want to come to us and they say, you know what, we've had great luck using reward as the primary herbicide and sonar as the follow-up, then
Yeah.
that's fine too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
So, but we have that line also at the end of the Flanagan Pond thing on the next page.
I'm sure.
Okay.
So so I guess I don't know that we need to tell anybody their own business. Does
Yeah.
that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah.
So, question is?
So actually, what it feels like is the right thing to do. So do we have a point in here where we say at all that the herbicides must be as approved by the state of Massachusetts?
Yeah, but it's,
So we say consultant must be licensed.
well, so USEPA/MA, so they must be
Oh, yeah,
registered
right
both
there in
by
the-
the US EPA and by the state of Massachusetts, which in this case would be the Department of Energy Resources.
So we're stating right here that they can only use the ones they want. So we should actually cross out
They can only use the ones that are allowed to be used,
Allowed,
which is
yeah.
a very limited number, it's basically.
Yeah.
cross out the two last lines altogether.
Of, okay,
Sonar and reward. There's no reason for us to drive that discussion.
so get rid of sonar and reward on both of those sections, okay. And, on Sandy Pond, going through all the minutes, we'd had that one issue of ACT, in one of their proposals had mentioned possibly using sandbags under the Causeway Bridge. And then we'd had a whole discussion of what?
Well, remember they were trying to control the level? Was
Right.
Was it AC? Was it
Yeah,
ACT
that was that was
or?
ACT, I think, way back.
Yeah,
like
but I'm trying to remember,
2000.
was it ACT or LICOT? ACT was always, they wanted the water level low, and LICOT said it didn't matter. Remember?
Yeah.
But in 2011, when the Beaver Dam blew out,
Right.
ACT did the treatment on Sandy Pond because they said the water level didn't matter. They went ahead and did the treatment there.
Well, I think their treatment there didn't
LICOT.
matter because they were spot treating.
Right. And LICOT didn't want to do it on Flanagan because
Right.
the water level did matter. But the sandbags were going to be used for Sandy Pond to hold the water in.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So,
Well, maybe now that LICOT and ACT are combined, maybe they'll come up with a new
so just
method.
take that off, that red line off.
Yeah, that doesn't,
Presumably anything in the,
Who's you right up on the ceiling?
um,
Chicken scratch.
good luck.
Oh, piece of cake.
At the beginning of this one, in Sandy Pond, also I think the objective is to control the limited growth of invasive and nuisance aquatic plants. I would get rid of the in the area of the beach, because I think we just did that for 2011 because that was a spot treatment year.
Well, so how bad is it now?
It's bad. I mean, I think it's underneath the surface. It's by the inlet stream. You've got a lot of growth around the perimeter ponds of not invasives necessarily, robin's pondweed and stuff like that. But that's all expanding.
Will they assess before they treat?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they'll know where they should treat.
Well,
Right.
so what
Well,
makes,
and they did recommend a whole pond treatment.
this is always the problem I have, right? So what makes a nuisance level of pickerel weed?
Yeah.
I don't think it's a nuisance. Pickerel, I mean, that's where fish live.
I take offense to the
Fish.
term nuisance and pickerel
Well,
weed.
that's where fish hang out.
Right?
Mhm.
Well, I'm well aware.
You know?
Right. But the situation, say for example, when I moved in between, say, my house and the inlet stream,
Mhm.
where AJ's now abutting the pond, that was all clear way back 15 years ago. Now that's got a lot of, I think you called it pickerel weed.
It is.
Mhm.
So that's expanding. So do we want to let the pond, I mean, that's not
Well,
affecting.
it's depth related to.
Right, but that's an expanding changing situation.
Yeah,
What's
well,
our goal?
And that's
I don't
where it
know.
gets right. So the
Yeah.
question becomes, so, but it's not an invasive.
Right,
Right.
It's like the water
Mhm.
lilies.
right.
It's the same discussion as the water lilies. It actually, I hate to use the expression, belongs there.
Mhm.
And so it's not terrible that it's there.
Right.
And so the problem on Flanagan's Pond is from a recreation standpoint, which is what you know,
Mhm.
right? The water lilies make it difficult or dangerous for swimming, actually dangerous for swimming.
Yeah.
But there's
People
plenty of
swim
room
in
to,
People swim in there?
No, no.
no, but if someone fell out of their canoe,
Mm.
they could have trouble because the water lilies are pretty thick. In fact, the only surprising part would be that they couldn't walk across them. But when it comes to when it comes to Sandy Pond, they've got some shallow areas and there's pickerelweed in those shallow areas.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty much the only place there's any pickerelweed.
Yeah.
As soon as the water gets deep, it goes away.
Right.
So I don't know that I consider that to be a nuisance of any sort.
No, I'm not, I mean, I'm just pointing it out.
You said the word nuisance and pickerelweed several times, just like one day you said pine trees and murderers. And so I'm working with you. I'm reading you for where you're headed.
Yeah.
You don't like the pickerelweed?
No, I'm not saying that, and I'm not,
So you like
Okay,
nuisances?
let's do this. Trees are to land as pickerelweed is to water.
I just know, and I'm not speaking for myself here, but I just know, like,
You
on
clearly are.
no. Because on the other side of the pond, pond that's closer to Wright Road, I'd say there's a lot more new growth of stuff there, and I know several residents have been mentioning things. And that's not necessarily milfoil or fanwort. I think some of it is weeds and stuff.
Over by Susan?
Yeah, between there and and the
And that property we were going to buy?
Right. What property we were going to buy? But there's a lot of growth of, I think, probably non-native or native species there. And I think various residents have been. I mean, Brian, I think, had some calls from, I think, Phyllis Prestilio when last fall when you first came in about, and she's over on that past Susan. About different weeds that are growing there, and so I think a lot of
You mean-
residents.
So just turn back.
Right.
About different native plants that are growing there?
Right. So it just so people are aware as we're doing this. I think what we're targeting invasives, but a lot of the residents on Sandy Pond would be concerned about expanding
Native
native
plants?
growth. Yeah,
So
that it is changing in the last.
Well, it's the pond.
Is the pond changing?
It's the pond water level,
Process of eutrophication
or it goes down over time.
Right.
The
I mean-
shallowness will fill in with
Mm-hmm.
plants.
For all anybody knows, I mean, the
Mhm.
water was the water low this year?
Yeah,
Mhm.
strange
There you go.
drought. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
So I think the way that I would look into it is look,
Yeah.
just like I guarantee there'll be some die off of the pickerelweed and the
Right.
everything
Treated-
Oh, yeah.
treatment.
Yeah.
when they do the treatment. So
So we're just can we get rid of this phrase though in the area of the beach, because I think
you're looking for treatment across the entire pond.
well, and I do believe that Solitude's estimate talked about whole pond treatment. And we do have a lot going on over, I'd say, by the inlet stream where it comes
Where
in.
does it say area of the beach?
After M header
it's like the fourth line. Right.
Yeah.
after the second scientific name.
In the area.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, get rid of that. It should be
Yep,
whole,
okay.
it's whole pond.
So just to speak to the conversation I just got the tail end of, would it be useful to add a sentence to the effect of, specifically targeting fan water, relief water milfoil, the purpose of this is, limited to invasive species control for ecological health and recreational, just so that you have a purpose statement.
Yeah, it feels like we should put that at the
Mhm.
beginning.
Well, right, but if your purpose is different for Sandy
Well,
Pond
no,
than
no,
it
no.
is for Pine Meadow.
No, it's
No,
just-
no, because the second sentence on this part says the objective of the project at Sandy Pond is to control the limited growth of invasive and nuisance aquatic
Right,
plants.
it's an objective statement, but it's not
Yeah.
a purpose statement. You see what I mean, the distinction that I'm flipping?
No,
The objective is the job to be done.
yeah,
The purpose is why are you doing the job?
well,
Okay, well, we could, in this particular case, we could actually flip-flop the word objective to purpose, and it's the same sentence. The purpose of the project at Sandy Pond is to control the limited growth of invasive and nuisance aquatic plants. The objective is to reduce it by 90%.
Well, right, but the reason you're doing it is for ecological health and well-being, for recreational.
Okay.
Well, then, in that case, then we should make that, our objective statement should be or our purpose statement should be at the beginning, because it applies to all the ponds.
Well,
Mhm.
right, because the conversation you just had about the homeowners on the ponds who want the weeds gone are gonna see the word invasive and think that it applies to the weeds and wonder why you haven't done anything about it. And the circle begins again.
Well, we keep saying weeds, and it turns out that, pickerweed and some of the other plants, they're plants, they're not,
Right, and just in the interest of sort of putting a statement into the
Mhm.
effect of people, we're not killing the things that belong there.
Well,
we're not
Well, this
trying
is-
to.
This is not for, I mean, this is for,
Right, but the homeowners will find it on, it'll be posted and they'll pick up a copy and they'll read through it and, I'm just envisioning, problems and trying to preempt them.
I don't know that all those things will
Yeah.
happen, but to the point that someone might.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's all.
Do you have one of these over in Groton?
I'm not sure.
Long Pond must,
Yeah.
or Lost Pond, Lost Lake.
Lost Lake.
Lost Lake Pond.
No, Lost Lake. Naps Pond.
Atlantic Lake. They must have one. They do this.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They, to be fair, at Lost Lake and Lost Pond, there's a homeowners association.
Sure.
A lake association. So I don't know. I know they send out RFPs
You would figure.
but I don't know what it says.
Okay.
I can try and find out.
Well, the only thing I'm thinking of is that, so I appreciate where Brian's coming from. We've never had a purpose statement before.
Yeah, it might be ridiculous overkill as well.
Well,
Mhm.
I put it to you this way. So the reason that we did it the way we did it is, you can see on Sandy Pond, we talked about specifically targeting fanwort and milfoil. On Pine Meadow, we talked about providing spot treatment. So we were talking about at the beach area in Sandy Pond originally, and now it's much more pervasive. Pine Meadow, we were talking about spot treatment, which now, did we have Pine Meadow in the list of ponds for this year?
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Flanagan,
I thought we
Sandy,
did.
and Pine Meadow, yep. And,
And is the treatment in what you have, just the treatment in here based on the geosyntax report?
no, I mean, the text of this is not based on the geosyntech report.
Is that the thing that had to be?
And what they so it's not based on what they recommend?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay.
Um,
So
So,
do you think we should go back to the geosyntax?
well, I looked
letter.
at the geosyntech, well, no, actually,
well,
in the
hold on,
red,
let's do one thing at a
Yeah.
time.
in the red,
All
I
right.
incorporated things from there, yeah.
So, right now, it feels like we're identifying that we have our original RFP, and potentially the objectives need to be tuned up, because
Mhm.
we've talked about Sandy Pond, we're all set. It's no
Right.
longer in the area of the beach. Pine Meadow Pond, I think we should remove the term spot treatment,
Yeah.
because it's pretty intense over there.
Okay, and one other thing is, before you leave Sandy Pond, should we, for Sandy Pond, also include the same language as Flanagan Pond of looking for eradication of 90%?
Yeah, I think, in fact,
And then we had gone through different,
so remember, Sandy Pond was the beach, Pine Meadow was spot treatment, and Flanagan's was 90%.
right,
That was what we were shooting for before.
yeah,
Now we're shooting for 90% in all the ponds. We should just make that our objective statement and then define the different. In fact,
Okay.
there's almost no reason to say anything other than, we are looking for you to target.
okay.
The objective of this project in Flanagan, Sandy, and Pine Meadow Ponds is to control the widespread growth of invasive and nuisance aquatic plants, specifically the eradication of 90% of fanwort and variable leaf water milfoil
Okay.
through the year of treatment. And then use of required herbicides has been identified as the most cost-effective and only feasible method of plant control at this time. And then a little blurb on each of the 3 ponds.
Yeah.
And then we're done.
Okay.
Because our original,
I can
the
just
whole
have
reason
it-
for this was to have 3 separate scopes.
Right.
Now it's not, it's 1 scope.
Right. So I can have a redraft done for this weekend. We can take a quick look at it Saturday morning.
No way. Do it Monday.
Monday. Okay, but just, yeah, so I'll just reframe that. We had gone through
I mean, does that make
various-
sense?
Yeah.
Right?
We had gone through various iterations of, initially we used to ask for 90% within 60 to 90 days. But then we changed it to same growing season. Do we prefer same growing season still?
Well, I guess, interestingly, one question would be, do we think they can hit 90% within 60 to 90 days? I
Yeah.
just don't
I
remember.
think that's why we went to same growing season.
Probably did.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we had and based on what you were saying at our last meeting, you had said the one question we had was, how do we prove it?
Mm-hmm.
And,
So we had that before.
Mm-hmm.
well, we had questions arise, which you wanted me to look at our old minutes for. So we had talked about 90%. Well, after we got the proposals from the 2013 Flanagan Pond thing, we had some discussion that we had differing interpretations of the RFP requirement for data points taken with GPS and spaced at 10 feet or less. Okay. You assumed that meant data points placed at 10 feet or less intervals along the boundaries of the treatment areas, which is sort of like how ACT responded in its 2011 report. Becky and Takashi had assumed the RFP was referring to a point grid that covered the whole area of treatments. That was one of the things that we had discussed after our most recent RFP about things we might need to tweak in our next RFP, which would be this one.
Point grid?
Yeah. This is from 2013.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
I would hope you would. So the only thing I remember point grid is, well, I guess I don't remember it. So I thought the idea was that they would travel around in a boat and circumnavigate the areas that needed to be treated, taking data points every 10 feet with a GPS so that they could later prove that they had reduced that area. What's a point grid?
It's you can imagine it as like a graph paper, placing a
Sure.
grid over it, but you take away the lines, just keep the
Okay.
keep the vertices,
Okay.
and then
Excellent word.
thank you. It's almost 10 of them. And it's a way of basically providing control over your area, so that grid never moves, and you can still kind of, I don't know if you say randomly, haphazardly.
Oh, yeah, no.
Follow a
So
a circuitous route, if you will.
Sure.
If that's how you're grabbing the boat, but
the grid doesn't move.
the grid doesn't move.
So
and-
I was next to 0.7,
Yeah.
and
so,
it doesn't change.
So whatever the nomenclature is, it
Okay. So do we give them a point grid? Do they create their own point
I
grid?
think they create it.
Okay.
And I think a lot of it will depend on how they've set up their software, the GPS or whatever they're using. So
I guess so. The only thing I'm uncomfortable about is we don't have a point grid to hand them, which means they make the point grid.
I can make a point grid.
Can you?
You do a random generator in GIS, and it'll space dots out.
yeah, I mean they have to be able to use it.
Just look at that one section under
I could
discussion of
theoretically use a
Lycott.
hack job, something like that, and
Well,
we could
but-
generate it.
Well, that's what I'm,
I think there's something about 10-foot intervals, so you can say
right.
10-foot grid, so that then provides.
So, Lycott said, cover letter from Lycott, Will Stevenson questioned the use of GPS data points spaced at 10 feet or less. Mr. Stevenson estimated this would result in 36,000 data points, okay? Which would mean he was expecting he had to travel in the boat for 360,000 feet.
Yeah.
Unlikely. And that this was an unprecedented level of detail. This led to a discussion, became apparent we had differing interpretations of data points taken. I assumed it meant points taken 10 feet or less along intervals of the boundaries, which, as you mentioned, ACT did in contrast. Takashi, difficult Tata, and
That would be Becky back then.
Becky assumed the RFP referred to a point grid covered the whole area of treatment. Yeah, and interestingly, what Lycott had given us as a sample of previous work was exactly that.
Yeah.
Right.
Was exactly what?
I noted that the distribution densities done for Houghton's Pond in Milton, which was included by Lycott as a sample of their previous work, was what I wanted them to do. So, all right, let's not get thrown off by the fact that Will Stevenson tried to make a big deal of this.
Okay.
Lycott clearly was able to do it. ACT was clearly able to do it.
Mhm.
I have no problem so when do we have to distribute this?
Well, we talked about the end of this month, but I'd say if we did it beginning of December, if we want to get the proposals in January.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
right? So, probably the best way to do it is, would you like to work on a point grid that we can look at on December 8th?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so if
And
you,
by point grid, to make sure, I'm just gonna take a map of the ponds and do a random point generator, and yeah, just
it
lay
wouldn't be
out.
random, it'd be evenly spaced point generator.
Right, and I'll tweak it, so, and we're gonna do 10 feet,
That would be perfect.
and we'll see how many points we end up with. And, let's, to the point of 3,600 data points, do you want?
No, he thought 36,000, he was out of his tree.
Right, so do you wanna say, a minimum of 100 data points and no more than 1,000, or do you wanna give me a ballpark to?
Well, if you do a grid, it's whatever the grid is.
Right, but if, let's just say the grid does say offer me up 36,000 over all 3 ponds.
Well, so hold on a sec. So if I hand somebody a grid,
Mm.
right? So do they then go out, use a GPS, and then lay that out on the grid that we've given them? How does the grid work?
Well, I'm not sure how it would work if we're giving them a.
You brought it up. So if they,
Well, no, you specify what spacing you want, and they do it. I mean, it's not like we.
right, but so then they hold the control.
No, it's.
You see what I'm saying?
No, you lost me too.
Okay. So let's say that I give this to Fred's weed treatment.
Yeah.
And Fred's weed treatment goes out and they assign a grid the first time, and then when they go back, they move the grid. What I'm suggesting is if we stipulate what the grid is, either way they have to take data from the field and put it onto the grid, right? So if there's a point on that grid which is 100, 100, I should be able to know where that is in space.
Yeah, it's a GPS
Would
point.
have to.
Right.
Latitude,
Okay.
longitude.
So therefore, as long as those data points don't move, it doesn't matter if we make it or they make
Right.
it.
Right,
They take that grid and then they lay out exactly what we're talking about on that grid.
right.
So the only distinction is,
Well, they lay out the grid according to what our requirements are.
sure. Okay, so I guess I feel comfortable if we lay the grid out, but if they lay the grid out, I guess it doesn't matter as long as it doesn't move.
Right.
And
And so the
Right.
thing
That's
that
my
you-
concern.
The proof that you want, I think, is that you want them to take a picture from a certain number of photo points of the grid. Let's just say let's say if you set up like a cross style, boxes every 10 feet, every 10th latitude, you want a photo down the length of it. And then,
And then they transfer that onto the grid?
And then that's your photo point. So before and after treatment, you have a certain number.
Oh,
of-
I see what you mean. So,
And then you hold them to account that that's where the grid was and that's how it stayed. And
so, okay.
because Takashi's point is that, if they, whether or not we make the grid, they're gonna put it down in the water, they're gonna lay it out, and like, we are not gonna know if they shift it 3 feet to the left or 3 feet to the right, and,
So I kind of liked it if it was our grid, but that's unimportant.
Well, the thing is, even if I make them a grid, I'm not gonna go out and float a bunch of buoys.
You sure? It doesn't, so here's what I'm having trouble with. So I'm just trying to understand. So what is the overall benefit? So if either way I have to go out and take GPS points to discern where the vegetation is, what does the grid do for me?
It's the graph paper example, right? You can call 90% success by just counting the number of dots that are empty.
Sure. So that must have been what they did when they did it the other way, because how else would they would have had to calculate the area inside the curve, right? It's a lot of calculus.
Right.
And then,
Yeah.
right, and then go back and say, nope, 90% of it's gone. Only 10% remains. So the grid makes it easier for the math, right? So I don't know if it matters whether we give them the grid or they give us the grid or however it happens.
Actually, as I'm thinking about what you're talking about, it might be better, and I don't know the technological feasibility of this, but I think it would work if rather than doing this grid, you establish photo points, and then, at a certain scale, regular width from here to there, and then we take a different piece of software, or even just a ruler, and draw the grid on the pictures. So like a 1-inch space.
Well, why can't we just call and ask them, like, how, do you qualitate it or you quantitate it? I mean, is it you just drive around in your boat and you look down, you're like, okay, the weeds are gone there, they're gone over there, they're gone over there.
Well,
But, I
the
mean,
way that we
how
had
is
them
it
do it before was
quantitated?
we had them do it with photographic evidence as well.
So that.
So the
that's
idea is they go
qualitative.
around out, right, they go around out in the boat
Right.
and they nail it down, and then
Right.
they treat, and then they go around in the boat and they figure it out again,
Yeah.
with the idea being that when they go back the second time, if it's not done, they're probably treating, because that's when they can be here. So think about it.
Yeah, no,
You're a
yeah.
Lycott,
Yeah.
or Solitude,
Solitude.
Solitude.
you're
Yeah,
Solitude.
Yeah.
You have 200 ponds to do. So you're gonna go and hit them all once, right? Sometimes 2, 3 in a day, right? Do whatever you need to do to get them all treated the first time. Then you're gonna go back and you can only hit them once. So you go to measure and see if it worked. Oh crap, it didn't work. So you put more stuff in the water
Yeah.
to make it work.
Yeah.
If it did work, great, you record those results and you go home. So my
Right,
guess
Right.
would be is that they're gonna go do that, and they're gonna make their recordings, and then they're gonna move on. The only effective way, and I remember this from the last discussion, the only effective way would be to hire a company to go out, mark where the weeds were,
Yeah.
say go treat it, and have them do the measurement after, third party. That's the only honest way to do it.
Right. Right.
Or Chestnut could go kayaking and just float buoy lines.
Hmm.
Actually, that would work. But, and especially if each one had a little GPS,
Little tracker.
little tracker in it.
So Bonnie, you had wanted to see what the GSM Tech report said and recommendations.
Yeah. Forgot. I mean, I could read it this
Oh.
weekend. Oh, you got it?
Oh, yeah,
Benefits
that's like
of
Sandy
using the
Pond.
website.
Yeah.
All right, so
But
why
that's
don't we
it,
take
that's
why don't we
Sandy
take one more step back?
Mhm.
So we talked about, right, Fox watching the henhouse. You tell us how you did. And in the past, it was, they said 85%. And they did that based upon going around in a boat, and they would go like this, they'd go 85%. That was the measurement. And I remember being frustrated that that was the standard we allowed them to work to. So we said, we can't do that anymore. We can't do that. We've got to assign it. How could you do it? You could go around in a boat and you could take measurements. Okay, great. We're still allowing the measurements to be taken by the guy who did the treatment. Okay? So one question might be, would Geosyntec do the measurements for us post, pre and post?
And that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. These guys charged like $40,000, and remember, how much was the, I'd be guessing. All I remember was I remember having this discussion. when, in 2011, when we couldn't do it because the dam blew out, we wanted them to do the treatment the next year. And they said, well, we can't hold our price unless you pay for materials in advance. So if you pay for the materials, we'll show up next year and put it down for the same number. So we went to Board of Selectmen and said, we need $33,000. So if it was like 40, it was like $33,000 was the material. $7,000 was the application.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it wouldn't be all that expensive to have somebody go around in a boat and take those measurements, and then go around in a boat and take those measurements. They
But,
certainly
you know,
weren't charging that much when they were doing it.
But that means from your math, you could say it probably costs $3,000 to $5,000 to send somebody out on a boat for a day.
Well, if these guys don't have to do any measurements, all they do is go out and distribute the sonar.
But they have to have a sense of where they need,
Yeah, they would need to do a pre-treatment
yeah,
survey to do their job
where
right.
they do the,
Right, but they don't have to go and do a pre-treatment survey with GPS points.
They'd probably do it anyway that way.
They probably would do it, and this is where we would probably find out that they do it automatically. They probably have one mounted on the boat, just like the. So have you seen the excavators or a bulldozer nowadays? And it's got the machine, it's right on the blade.
Got the beacon on
It's got the beacon right on the blade. You know what that guy does? Is he goes like this. He drives forward and he bumps it up and down a little bit as he dials in the grade.
So to Bonnie's point, because this is an educated guess on how two different companies try to cut costs and make sure that they were competitive with each other, since they're now one company, that particular, they may have changed their practices.
Well, actually, let's bring up the next most important point. When we send out an RFP, who's going to respond?
Just them.
There are other companies, but they're far away.
Well, and the other thing too is that in your RFP, you've got, at least 5 years worth of management experience. And if you just drop it to 0, maybe you get some college kid with a boat who's, willing to do it for next to nothing. And you open it up a little bit.
He would have to be licensed.
Yeah, you'd have to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
But
serious. That's
he
serious
may not
business.
have been in business, let's just say that there's a disgruntled employee who didn't get the benefits package and didn't sign the non-compete agreement who happens to live in Massachusetts.
That sounded awfully close to home. All right, so
So just
fix
reading,
that.
reading what Jess has on here with the Geosyntech report. I mean, usually what they're going to do is probably it's a whole pond treatment. So they're going to go around and they're going to basically just
Poison the pond.
they're going to basically dump it everywhere, right? They're not going. It's not going to be limited to.
But we don't
certain
have spot
areas.
treatment
Well,
anymore.
actually, it will. Depending on the RFP, obviously, but they're not going to use any more material than they have to because material costs
Right.
money.
Exactly.
So they're going to be
Yeah.
as judicious as reasonably possible.
Right.
So my guess would be that maybe they do a pre-survey. Who knows how long that takes, right? Put the boat in, run around, come back out. Pre-survey.
Sandy Pond will probably be the perimeter.
Yeah.
I don't know, 20 feet out.
I just know, if you want to look at the estimate from Solitudes, they didn't say whole pond treatment for Sandy Pond for this year, but the cost is 18 to 20,000. Next year, 2018, they specify just spot treatments on Sandy Pond. So one can infer they were doing more than spot treatments, targeting for 2017.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for Sandy, because it's, deep in the middle, there's nothing growing,
Yeah.
in 20, 30 feet of water, right?
Certainly not in Sandy Pond. No, okay, so we're stuck back at that question. So the question was, how do we prove we got our money's worth? Okay.
Which is going back, I think, to the purpose statement, where let's just say the point is to make kayaking easier. If it's a passable area, because the other thing too is that you remove your top canopy, right? You're going to release your suppressed understory. It works the same aquatically as it does terrestrially. If there's youngins that are being shaped out, they're going to grow up. So you're only going to have, say, 90% success for a certain window of time, and then the next generation will come through. So the point is to say, come back next year and only have to deal with half as many plants, or the point is to make sure that people can recreate within that space safely and easily.
Well, and that's where we run it, so, a good friend of mine, his wife's mother lives on a pond in Bellingham. I think I told the story last time. And that pond, there's nothing. There's like 3 patches of lily pads in the entire pond. The whole rest of the pond is cleared out to the bank. Nothing. And they have people come in and treat every year. Now it's a pond association, totally private pond.
Yeah.
All the boats are controlled. You know, there's nobody's bringing a boat in from out of town. You know, and it's almost too clean. It doesn't look like a pond anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's a bathtub.
Glorified swimming pool.
And not that that's bad, you know, it is what it is, but it doesn't look like a healthy pond.
Right.
Sandy Pond to me has always looked like a healthy pond because it's got, you know, the pickerel weed around the outside edges and, you know, the lily pads over near the beach, and it just looks like a pond. So, and it doesn't affect your ability to, you know, kayak or anything. Flanagan's Pond is just tough. Flanagan's Pond is so thick, and I think it just kind of is what it is.
So, you know, the metric for success could be, you know, no, that won't work. Sorry, I was going to say that, you know, next year's pond treatment will use a certain percentage less herbicide.
Oh, I see. So a 5-year plan. So you start out with, you know, 100%, 80%, 60%.
Well, I think that's how they operate, right? Is that they do whole pond treatments 1 year, and then the next year they'll spot treat, right? And then they'll
Right.
monitor it the 3rd year, if it needs another spot treatment, okay?
Right.
And maybe
But
the
the,
4th
you know,
year.
the
Knock
the
it back,
whole
knock
pond.
it back,
Yeah,
right, knock it back.
And the
It's
mark
like
of
mowing,
success
it's
will
like you're
be,
mowing your lawn, right?
but you go from like the 5 gallons of herbicide in your first year to say 3 gallons your second year to 2 gallons to 1. and
Well, so
Well, it's
Well,
not.
so the only problem with that is, of course,
right.
right? Now you're well, use your 3 gallons.
Yeah.
No, I think we're better to stick to the, you know, a standard, like the 90% standard. And maybe the right thing to do is on Monday, if you would be so kind, call them up and ask them.
I'll get on paper and I'll pass it around.
Just ask them what they do. Ask them how they've been doing it. Say, you know, in the past we'd use 90% with GPS marking. Is that how you folks typically do it? You know, and that way we can talk about it on Monday night during our meeting. What was Dominic, right?
Maringolo, but he's now in a different section, I think Brian
Right,
said.
he's moved on to a different role.
Yeah.
It's disappointing if it's just one company.
Hmm.
All right, it is 10:04. I'm glad we covered what we covered on this. So, number 1, let me pass you back these minutes so they don't get lost. Thank you very much. Number 2, it is clear that we're on the right page with what we're trying to achieve. We can rewrite this to basically say, I like, this again was written because we had 3 totally separate scopes. So I like the idea of an objective statement to do in the 3 ponds, and then a quick little blurb about the 3 ponds, and you're done. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I'll rework that for,
And
is that
Robert
first
and
one?
Carly have not yet responded regarding whether or not the fine print is up to date.
Yeah.
But I checked in with them about that yesterday, and Carly assured me that it was on the to-do list.
Well, that's usually the easy part. That's the boilerplate. Certainly the DPW or somebody's done an RFP recently, and they've got it up to date.
and then
Okay.
once we have a draft, we also share it with Chuck Miller and the Pond Dan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So but I think we owe it to ourselves and to them to
Yeah.
get ourselves closer than we are today.
Right.
But please do call them on Monday. All right. I will allow, no, I'm not staying till 10:30. I will allow till 10:15, George. A little
it's not
pushy
that.
there. So let's start with, what updates did you have, Brian?
Oh, wait,
Job description?
yeah. We were gonna just discuss a little bit of, now that Brian's full-time,
Mm-hmm.
where we saw that going. So I believe,
So, for instance, Mark Wetzel's discussion about potentially having me use some of my time to go out and inspect stormwater basins, right? That's one potential add-on. You know, going out and say actually managing land is one potential add-on. Going out and, I mean, there's lots of ways to spend my time, but I can't do all of them well, or I can do all of them badly, or, you know, we could create a new way of interpreting the role. And if we do so, is it gonna go into land management, open space style thinking? Is it gonna go into stormwater style thinking and, you know, working with DPW a little more closely? Is it gonna go into sort of a generic, like, town hall environmental advocate in a generic kind of way?
No.
I mean, you know,
So we have immediate needs right outside.
yeah.
So probably the first one, which has been a need for 7 years, is to clean up the fact that we have issued orders of conditions and they're not closed out.
Oh yeah, but that's running. That'll be done theoretically in 6 months. Well, the paperwork part. I don't know about the process, but the paperwork
Right,
part.
the implementation will take significantly longer.
Yeah.
So I would love to see that was 1 day a week, that was, you know, the focus of that 1 day a week was to go out and visit properties and figure that out, so we close them out. It'll go away, but it's an ongoing thing. As far as the stormwater affects so many different facets, including the ponds and the health of the ponds, that the stormwater is a pretty important one. I agree that there might be stormwater inspection, but I'm unclear on what that means.
Well, so, you know, Mark's thought was that there are so many basins in town that don't get addressed, that fill up and get dirty and then cease functioning. Part of my role could be maybe going out and checking the status and seeing if they need to be cleaned or to see if they're still functioning. Or
Doesn't the town clean the basins every 6 months whether they need to or not?
I don't know enough about it, but Mark, you know, thought that there'd be room for me to perhaps take on some of that.
Well, I could certainly see you driving by detention basins, but I wouldn't think stormwater basins.
Sorry, I'm using the two interchangeably.
Okay.
Is
So,
that rainwater or stormwater?
Pond water.
oh no, it's already fallen into the ground. So if you were looking at stormwater basins, that would be, I think, a mistake. If you were looking at detention basins, that makes perfect sense. Because detention basins inevitably came from us or for us. Is that a fair statement? Well, certainly anything that we have issued an order for.
Well, anyway, in the interest of trying to speed things along, you've each got a copy of the job description.
Mhm.
You know, maybe you want to scratch it out, think on it, you know, figure out what the role should be, because in a manner of speaking, I can certainly do the same job in the same amount of time and just like inspect all the properties on a weekly or, you know, even twice a week. You know, I've been out every day at Rosewood, you know, mucking around out there and
Well, that was a good one to be at.
yeah, that was a good one to be at.
You know, in general, the projects are not that intensive.
No.
So, you
But,
know,
you know, the wetland replication going on, you know, up at Woodland Way, I could spend a lot of time out there too. And, you know, hover over that one.
but there's no benefit to that. There's
Oh.
plenty of benefit, because look, you're gonna go there and they're gonna dig it out, they're gonna plant them, and then the only thing to do is watch them grow. So, in this particular case, they were pulling out a beaver dam. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's also our first beaver dam that someone legally pulled out in our presence. Or I guess I could even use the expression legally pulled out is our first beaver dam that's been legally pulled out. So that was huge, and that makes sense. The other ones, they're one visit while they're getting started, and they're one visit later.
Right.
There's nothing else to them.
But yeah, just, you know, to chew on, because, you know, in a manner of speaking, I could, you know, do trail work. You know, I could build trail. I could, you know,
No.
et cetera, you know, like I could get into open space management. You know, the open space plan, you know, how much of that would fall on me and how much of that,
Yeah.
you know, do you change the job title to conservation agent and open space blah blah blah?
No.
You know, like,
So,
anyway, this is the question being asked, and, you know, we don't need an answer, you know, in 3 or 4 months, but, you know, there's
But I think having a list of priorities,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
they're gonna be ever changing, you know, some months, right?
Right.
That priority number 5 is gonna move up to priority number 1, right?
Well, and it could even be
Because it's
seasonal.
June,
Yeah,
right,
it could even be seasonal.
right.
Look, here's the,
Yeah.
you know what, every year in March, you go around and you drive around the ponds and you take a bunch of photographs of what the pond looked like before the ice out, and, you know, maybe even to the point where we actually start to set up places where you go and you take pictures of the ponds, and you know, and you do that you do it once a month.
Yeah.
And, you know, so that we're,
Yeah.
you know, we're monitoring
Yeah.
those kind of things, and, you know, even to the point of just saying, okay, I've been to, it's the first week of the month, I go to all the big projects that are open. So first week of the month, you go meet with, you go meet with Deshang on the project he has going. You know,
Because he will have a project going.
right? Well, because
Yeah.
he's got 2 going right now. So,
Right, right.
but that's all I'm saying is that, you know,
Eventually.
so let's talk about that. I think the first and foremost thing we need to do is to focus on the things we haven't been doing. We've only been reacting.
Yeah,
We've never been proactive.
right, and there's room for that.
So why don't we deal with that at the next meeting?
Right.
And talk about that. Let's make that the second thing we do after that nice lady who didn't feel well.
Have you been getting questions from other people in town about using your time, or?
Not really, mostly just Mark.
Okay.
But, you know, my question has to do with, you know, the discussion we just had. You know, I can spend my time in a certain way, but if there are certain desires or priorities that need to be sort of enshrined, then the job description ought to be changed, because it was built as a 20-hour-a-week thing, and now you're into that 35-40 category. So the job description arguably probably ought to grow.
35, 40, isn't it 40?
Well, I
Is
need
that
to
with
learn
paid
how to
lunch?
do 40 first. The time in my week so far, I haven't been able to figure out how to get in more than, say, 35. But I only just started last week.
Okay.
Time management on my end.
Okay.
Is it a 40-hour week, or is it 40 hours with lunch included, or what do they do these
I don't know
days?
the answer to that.
We get lunch?
I don't know. I was asking. Yeah.
Anyway, you know, it's a full-time gig, and it's, you know, the job description ought to reflect, you know, what the full-time role should be, rather than, you know, giving me 40 hours to do a 20-hour-a-week job.
Well, it was never a 20-hour-a-week job, so that makes it
Yeah.
easy. It was always an 80-hour-a-week job. So
Right, right. I mean,
so why don't we do this? So let's do this at our next meeting on December 8th. Just block off from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
every time I try that.
Then people get turned away and they come in January. We have every right to do it. Turn them away. We need to do this. We need to start doing our stuff.
Yeah.
Those 4 people who showed up tonight should never have walked in the door.
So the reason, though, especially for this, is that, you know, let's just say Mark Wetzel asked me for some time. I can give it to him, you know, and then in the manner of speaking, I just gradually drift into being a half DPW person. You know,
And
is
that's
that
Nobody's
we don't
drifting.
want-
right?
We don't want
and that's
that.
why we
No,
want to do
no.
this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's step back for 1 second. You handed these out. For
Yeah.
which project is this?
Which one would you have?
Determination of applicability.
The 80 Sandy Pond
That's the one that
The
we already
driveway.
talked to the guy with the driveway,
Yeah.
with the nice lady who came in to say,
who didn't feel well.
right.
Okay. Does anybody have any problem signing off on that?
You looked at it
You went out and looked at it after it's completed?
I went
I've
out
driven
and looked at
by
it
it.
prior.
I've seen it. It's done.
Okay.
Okay. And
It looks like an asphalt driveway.
Does
Yeah, it
anyone-
looked like an
Whoa,
asphalt
whoa.
driveway.
Okay. Does anyone have any problem signing off on that RDA?
I don't remember.
Do you remember the gentleman who came in and we were talking? He lives next to the house. What's that fellow's name
70,
again?
Bob Gardner.
Bob
70.
Gardner's
Oh, next to
house.
the big new house.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
All he did was he had a dirt thing. That,
Yeah, he just said, "Can I pave it before we run out of time to
Gotcha,
pave?" And we
gotcha.
said, "Yeah."
down in the
Yep.
back.
And he got lucky; it never got cold, but he could have got screwed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got it.
So our only problem is of course,
I'm not going to give him that paperwork though until he actually submits
Yeah.
an RDA.
so doesn't the RDA have to be noticed in the newspaper?
Yeah, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put it
Copy
on
sent to
the
DEP.
8th of the.
Of the
Of
RDA
December.
has to be.
Yeah, copy sent to DEP, because it can be appealed, and that appeal will go to
Yeah.
DEP.
Okay.
So let's not sign it.
Yeah, we shouldn't sign this then.
Mm.
Alright.
Okay. What's the one at the back? There was another one on here. Request for departmental action fee.
That's part of the full form.
Okay.
It is an addendum thing.
That's if it gets appealed.
All right. So that we don't mix that up, I'm passing that back to you.
Okay.
2 hours, absolutely our next meeting for our discussion. Okay. I saw that you had a local mileage report in here.
Yeah, I finally filled up the whole thing.
All right, so let's do this for you before we forget. Does everyone have this, or just me?
Just you.
Okay.
Is this accounts payable?
Brian, yes, accounts payable. So Brian drove 207 miles at 0.54 cents per mile for $111.78. Mostly to Rosewood, back and forth.
It's a lot of going back and forth.
And Family Dollar trash. You know,
Yeah, that was
you were
way
gonna
back when.
you were gonna hurt those people's feelings.
Is the trash still there?
I totally let that
I think
back.
it's still there.
I totally dropped that one.
We need to
That ball.
Well,
rolled
get
away.
that.
I'm paying $1.50 to find out. We're fine. It's trash, believe me.
Drives me crazy every time I drive by there.
Yeah.
Feel
Me too.
free to, you know, you can have that ball if you want it.
I would accept a motion to pay $111.78 for the miles attributed. Now, this is dated from 9/1/2015 to 12/31/2015, so 3 months.
To 9/1/2015 to what?
To 12/31/2015.
2015?
2015.
Oh.
Bummer. Yeah, that's wrong.
It's
From
certainly
the-
not
from the date-
9/1/2016, so it's 9/1/2015 to 12/31/2016.
It's from the date at the top of the column to the
1/11
date at the bottom of the
Brian,
column.
you can use
to
those
11/3.
extra 5
I'm sorry,
hours to make
what are
up
the
40 hours.
Apparently,
To
it's
check
from
all my-
January.
Check all your paperwork.
So this is from January 11th, 2015.
16.
No, 16.
Okay.
Which is still the last fiscal year. We can't
Oh.
do that.
Looks like you need to find out if we can
Yeah.
do it or not.
Sorry, I mean.
No, good point.
I mean, we
I
already
just-
passed fall town meeting.
That's right. And I've just been stacking the miles waiting to get to the end. And I never even.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point.
Okay. This one's important. This is to pay me $95 for going to the forestry workshop, which I am so disappointed that none of you went to.
I was disappointed I didn't go.
It was actually, it was really great.
Oh.
So they went over a number of different topics, starting off with how the land has become more forested, what they're shooting for. Really spent a lot of time talking about a lot of other states have huge, massive federal properties, all managed by the Bureau, Land Management. Massachusetts, the majority of the land in Massachusetts, parcels 10 acres and greater, or 2 acres and greater, are owned by individual landowners. And so there's a whole different set of parameters. What are you trying to accomplish? And it turns out, and I wrote it all down and I didn't bring it with me, I'm sorry, we have a state forester for our area, as well as our circuit rider. And so one option would be to talk to our state forester and about the properties. They did a big thing on Chapter 61. And one of the things they really focused on was, don't wait for Chapter 61 to come to you. Identify all the parcels in your property, in your town that are Chapter 61. Figure out if you would want them. Start the process today.
Mm-hmm.
Would we want to go buy that? Yes. Go talk to the landowner.
Mm-hmm.
Go talk to the landowner right now and say, you know what, we know you're in Chapter 61. If you'd ever like to take it out, we'd be interested in purchasing it or accepting a conservation restriction from you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait until the day when you're on the spot to rush to get it solved.
Mm-hmm.
And so they made a big point about how that was a huge help for some towns. And there were towns who had a whole binder of processes of how they approached Chapter 61. I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you know if you do it in Groton or not, but
We don't have a policy for it. But we know all the properties that are under Chapter 61.
clearly something that we need to do here.
Yeah.
And they talked about towns that had Chapter 61 committees and things like that. There was also a lady there from a group. They're out in Central Mass, but apparently there are others that you can reach out to, and they happily provide money. So if you come to them up front and you say, we have a Chapter 61 parcel, and we'd like to be prepared to buy it or make an offer on it. They work with you to find funding through their own money or state grants. And they talked about how everybody rushes to judgment to say, no, we don't want it. They said, don't you dare. And I remembered in our meetings how we only had 30 days to give them but that's a lie.
Mhm.
They went through the whole thing. I don't know who came up with that. That's not true.
How long is it?
90 days. You don't have to tell them a damn thing. You have you have no reason to give up your rights whatsoever.
Mm.
In fact, when I said it, the lady said to me, whoever told you that was misinterpreting the law.
Mm.
You do not have to give it. It's not a 30 days and then you have to tell them, or 30 days to do this, or no, there's nothing. So she was adamant.
Actually, 120 days.
Right. You have, well, thank you. Right.
Mm.
So the
So
long story
the-
short is that they cultured, the lady said over and over again, do not give up your rights. Do not give up your rights. Do not give up your rights. Look around, find the money, find a way to do it.
So the thing about needing to do an appraisal in 30 days is bogus.
That's what they told me.
Mm.
Good to know.
Yeah. So would you be open to, putting that on our agenda?
I would be thrilled to pieces to put that on our agenda. So let's,
So this is the part where I get to surprise you all happily. I already did that. And,
map the 91s, the 61s.
And I showed it to Robert and Carly, and they want me to do a presentation to the Chapter 61 people, which is apparently you and Beth.
I think Beth has yeah.
Well, I'd like us to be
something
part of
going
that, because obviously at the end of the day, if the town bought the land, I'm
Well,
assuming it's not going to the schools or somebody else. I'm assuming it would go
we
to
could
conservation.
invite them to our meeting and you could do the presentation to all of us.
There you
So
go.
the other thing that I did was that I took all of the biomap GIS information and I stacked it, and so it took a little while to figure it out, but basically, like, we've got ACECs, we've got critical habitat, we've got buffers to the critical habitat, et cetera, and there are about 10 different features of importance for natural resources. And in a couple of places, we have 7 of them occupying the same space.
Nice. And even with the Chapter 61 property in it?
Yeah.
Nice.
But only the one. Most of the Chapter 61 is adjacent to the really important stuff, which is up back behind where, So, relatively speaking,
Is it upland or?
yeah, mostly.
So that's
Actually,
even,
There's one parcel
gun club.
over by the Bruce Holmes thing that we were just looking at, the corner of Harvard and Ayer is a Chapter 61 parcel.
really?
Yeah, bottom, if you're visualizing, it's the southeast corner of Ayer is a big Chapter 61 parcel.
Wait, is that the one that's right after, is that on 110? So back in the woods there.
Back behind the Bruce Holmes development.
Okay.
What is Bruce Home?
Oh,
The Pingree Way.
Pingree,
thing.
Bennettsbrook.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, so the back corner there is a big Chapter 61 piece.
Well, it's a golf course.
Nope.
Beside the golf
Adjacent
course?
to the golf course?
Actually, you usually have my maps with you. Do you have it?
But no, Okay,
Yeah, I have it, but
so that's super exciting. So
So yeah, I've got a whole thing, and in conjunction with Robert and Carly, I'm gonna do a thing.
I would like you to get us a notebook so that you can do this, so that you can jot these things down, because every week we talk about these fantastic ideas, and so we know that on our next agenda, we're gonna spend 2 hours talking about the job.
Yeah, but this isn't, well, go on.
I just want, so we're establishing, we're coming up with these priorities, and the only way to do this, so I don't know if you've ever done this in business, right? But in my office, there's a whiteboard so that I can go, oh crap, that's right, Chapter 61. I can write it up there, and that way every day it can annoy the hell out of me when I walk in and go, oh yeah, I gotta do that. We don't have a whiteboard, so we need you to have a notebook so that you can annoy the hell out of us once a month. And we can say, oh, don't forget, we talked about these topics. And we'll say, oh yeah, we said that one's gonna be in June, and that
Only
one's gonna
once
be in
a month?
March.
Do you want to do twice a month?
I want you to have a notebook so we can write down these
Oh, no,
high
I write these
priorities.
things down. I just
Okay.
don't have my notebooks.
All right. I like the notebook idea.
I know you were very fond of Robert's notebook.
Who doesn't like notebooks? Okay. So, first and foremost, I'd be happy to talk more about this, but I would greatly appreciate if someone would make a motion to pay me the $95.
Motion to
that I
pay
spent.
Bill Daniels $95 for reimbursement for MACC.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
So do you want Robert to come to the 8th to talk about the job?
I think we should start, I think we want to start first by saying what are our needs and what are the things you're experiencing, because a big part of that also is what happens when you're in the office. What's a regular day like?
Good question.
Yeah.
All right, well, jot down what a regular day feels like, because
How many solitary games?
I remember one of the things that used to drive Becky crazy was she would get, when people knew she was in,
Yeah.
they would flock.
I don't have that problem.
Perfect. All right. Okay, so,
Minutes?
yeah, why don't we do minutes, 2 seconds of minutes. Yeah, it was Farnsworth, Bill Farnsworth. Do we know if he's the owner of Farnsworth Lumber? He can't be, right? Over in Shirley?
Couldn't tell you.
It's a big family.
Yeah, I thought so. But if you were somebody from that area and you could buy a house on a pond, wouldn't you?
I thought I have some of the other side of the box.
It's right down the street. Yeah, we had that huge discussion, blah, blah, blah. Oh, for goodness sakes.
What?
Okay. Perfect. I didn't have any questions.
Even the Fearless Leader part?
I'm sure it's right. Accept the meeting minutes as written.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Okay. Do you have 2 minutes of updates, Brian? I think we covered most of what you've been doing the last couple of weeks, especially with,
Yeah, the
brook.
photographs do most of the storytelling.
please talk to Cindy about a way to store those on the drive.
Oh, no, I'm already, yeah.
No, so that people can see them from the website. So for instance, you're going out and visiting these sites, right?
Mhm.
And you're going and you're doing site walks. So you're taking these photographs, and it's not like they're, protected material. So it would be fantastic if, for instance, you were to go visit, what's it called? Willows with the Shang and walk around, and you took a bunch of pictures, and we posted them on our website. They show that you are getting out and going out in the fields. They show that you are documenting information, and it helps people to understand, not that we had a lot of contention, but it helps people to understand why it was so critical to have you out there in the field doing that work.
Yeah, that's, actually, I had that conversation with her yesterday or the day before, where I was trying to, I was asking the question of, she manages the social media for the town, what she wants, if I go and do something like that, what she wants, and basically she said, 4 to 6 pictures and like a 3-line, if that, story, so that, when you scroll through the town Facebook, you read it and you're not overwhelmed.
Sure. I think that's a good way to, that combines the two things, right?
Yeah.
A, it shows that we're out in the public and doing what we're supposed to do. Because one of the things we talked about was we don't get out of the office enough. And this shows that you're getting out of the office. That's fantastic. Obviously, it'll drop off in the dead of winter, but
Right.
blah, blah, blah. In the dead of winter.
Take pictures of file cabinets.
In the dead of winter, you'll be chasing down all those open orders. But again, that's another part of talking about what the position does. You're in a way you're seasonal,
Yeah.
right? Painter paints outside in the summer and paints inside in the winter. It's what he does. Okay.
And
There's-
learn how to use this thing.
Yeah.
Because that would have been awesome to get up there.
You could put your pictures on a zip drive and just plug it right in there.
Right in the side.
But that thing communicates wirelessly. I
Yeah.
need to get, if that
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that are on the same wires.
Yes, but
Yeah.
if you can't make it work,
Yeah.
use the flash card.
Well, right.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway.
Although then we
Yeah,
all
right.
have to
You
move
will.
because
You'll-
otherwise everybody's gonna get a crick in their neck. We have to
Well-
sit in those seats and
Oh,
we'll make
we're
the,
fine, it's just you, it doesn't matter.
no, you're gonna get a crick in your neck.
Well, and like the next question, honestly, that's complicating me for that is that most of the work that I've done that I want to show, it's on the network, and so I need to figure out how to get the laptop down, plug that in, with the network cable, so that then communicate it to that. It's like a 3-step process.
Why is that not on the network?
Well, I can't. It doesn't. It's set up differently, and so to access my stuff and like that doesn't have any GIS on it.
Okay.
So it's a whole different software package on a different operating system,
So you can use this as a monitor effectively with an HDMI cable?
perhaps, or maybe just wireless. I need to have a whole chat with Cindy about how to best utilize this, because now that it's up there, that's way easier than the corner thing that it was before.
Kinda like the phone. Okay. We're gonna skip committee updates. Does anyone have any pressing updates that they'd like to discuss?
So we're meeting on Monday, 7 o'clock in this room,
Upstairs.
upstairs, for a bylaw.
Okay.
I don't have any updates.
And I'm not planning on printing out any more stuff, because you guys have the raw, plain bylaw printed out that I gave you, and my craftiness that I've tried to put together as well.
Is it in an email?
No, I've handed them out.
Okay. Can you send them all as electronic copy?
Yeah.
And then folks bring your laptops. It's probably just as easy as marking it up by hand.
Yeah.
Updates? What was that? Do you not have a laptop? Oh, come on!
I'll print it out. And I'll bring a pen.
You already have a copy, I brought it.
I know, I'm kidding, I have it. I have a pen, so I'm all set.
I'm bringing my hard copy and a
You wanna
pen.
buy me a laptop? Sure, I'll take it.
I have a laptop that doesn't connect to anything. It's a 2003 and it's not going to. It's isolated from.
It doesn't need to connect to anything. You just need to put the file on it, and then you can sit there and type in
That's
it.
true. If I can get it onto there.
I'll
We'll see.
bring
Anyway, Monday.
a slate tablet.
Sure. Hammer, chisel. Probably borrow them from Mike on Saturday morning. Do you have any updates,
I do
emergencies?
not. I do not. Oh, just one question. Any update from Robert with respect to sheds?
Oh,
Fine.
no. Yeah, we looked at that. Did you see my letter to Robert about the sheds?
I did.
Okay. So I haven't heard from Robert, so we have
Okay.
nothing further to
Okay.
discuss today. We
Okay.
will at another time.
Okay.
So, as
Okay.
discussed, we'll have normal business from 7 to 8 next meeting, and from 8 to 10, we are open for the discussion on December 8th for the new position, so that when we go into January, we have a handle on what we're doing.
Sounds good.
You guys should check this out. This is the photo you see over there. There's the beaver lodge.
Mm-hmm.
This is the drain pond reaching back to the rail trail.
Wow. Looks like a stream.
Well,
Mm.
now it is.
That's
But
what I'm saying.
They also don't know what the culvert is going under the rail trail.
Really?
That just means it's all full of stuff.
Possibly, but they don't even know.
No, they have to.
They don't know
So
what
now
it
what
is.
they have to do is muck it out to find it.
Yeah.
Did you want to make a motion to adjourn?
Sure.
Did you want to second it? Did everyone want to vote in affirmative to go good night?
For discussion?
Affirmative.
First.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye.